Either get a job or get out. I'm sick of supporting a woman like you." My husband's words cut deep, triggering something inside me that snapped. Why should I endure the condescension of a man who belittles others to elevate his own sense of superiority? I'm better off without someone like him. My name is Melissa. I'm 36 and I juggle work with homemaking as a freelance illustrator. I've always been passionate about art and pursued it through college. After graduating, I worked at a design firm, but when I turned 30, I decided to go independent. I wanted to express myself creatively on my own terms. At that time, I was single and excited about living life my way. Then I met my husband, Daniel, through a mutual friend. We hit it off and decided to marry, registering our union a year later. Daniel's job as a salesman required him to travel extensively, which meant he worked long hours. He asked me to become a housewife, so I put my illustration career on hold. I was happy to manage the home while he was away, believing that we should support each other as a married couple. I thought I could return to my art career later and continue my studies in the meantime. We trusted each other and had no major complaints. However, life threw us a curveball when Daniel got promoted to head a new sales office. This promotion meant he wouldn't be transferred for a while, and we could finally settle down in one place. We were both excited about the prospect of stability after constantly moving and adapting to new cities. But the transition wasn't as smooth as I had hoped. Daniel was still overwhelmed with work, managing the new office and launching additional branches. On top of that, the cost of living in our new city was significantly higher than we anticipated. While Daniel's salary could cover our basic expenses, it left us living paycheck to paycheck, with no company housing assistance to fall back on. We wanted to save for the future, but his salary barely covered our current needs. I considered tapping into our savings for security, but it didn't feel like a stable solution. I asked my husband if it would be okay for me to work, as long as I managed the house well. He seemed unsure but eventually agreed, though he emphasized that I needed to keep up with the household chores. His response felt a bit off, but I figured he was just adjusting to the changes. I was excited to start my new job after all these years. However, things began to change for the worse. My husband started criticizing the meals I prepared, which he never did before. He complained about the food being subpar and even accused me of cutting corners, which felt unfair. When I explained that I found deals on ingredients to save money, he snapped, accusing me of implying his salary was too low. I was shocked by his reaction and struggled to understand why he was twisting my words. He yelled at me, saying I was ruining things by working instead of focusing on housework. I wanted to argue back but decided against it, thinking he must be stressed from his new responsibilities. I apologized, hoping he was just tired and would calm down. Despite my efforts, his attitude worsened. He started nitpicking everything, demanding that I handle chores to his exacting standards, and even questioned where his clothes were or whether I had shined his shoes. He seemed like a different person, constantly yelling and becoming more critical. Balancing housework and my job proved harder than I expected. I tried to work around the chores, but my husband's high standards meant that housework took up most of my time. When I suggested he help with the chores, he retorted that my job was worthless and that I should quit. He began to belittle me as just a housewife, using it as an insult. His constant criticism and refusal to help made everything feel overwhelming, and my distrust in him grew. Even though I was working, I was still treated like a housewife. I didn't understand his logic. My pay was low, but that was because he kept interrupting me, making it hard to get more work done. Frustrated, I decided to focus more on my job and do fewer chores. One day, while cleaning, I found his old pay stubs on his desk. Out of curiosity, I looked at them and was shocked to see that his salary was about half of what I had been told. I wondered where the extra money was coming from. He had supposedly gotten a promotion, so why was his salary lower? I couldn't find any old pay stubs from before the promotion, and I felt certain something was wrong. Then, my husband's uncle called. He said he had lent my husband a lot of money and was wondering when he would be paid back. It dawned on me that my husband had been covering the salary gap with loans from his uncle. I was devastated. I apologized to his uncle and promised to pay him back. Even though I felt awful, the uncle was kind and said to repay him when we could. That night, I didn't mention the debts or the pay stubs to my husband, but my frustration with him grew. He continued to belittle me, criticize my cooking and cleaning, and interfere with my work. When I tried to stand up for myself, he slammed his fist on the table and insulted me, saying I was wasting money and questioning who was providing for us. I was done with his behavior. I told him that I was doing my part and that his words were contradictory. I didn't want to put up with his insults anymore. He said I should start earning money if I wanted to complain, and I thought he should do the same. I stayed silent as he continued to insult me, saying I was a burden and that I should leave if I wasn't going to work. His triumphant look as he said these things sent a shiver down my spine. He probably thought I'd apologize, but I was ready to leave. I grabbed my packed bags and started to walk out. "You can't do anything on your own anyway," he said. I gave him a cold look and said, "I'm leaving this behind." I slapped the divorce papers I'd gotten from the city hall onto the table. He looked stunned and didn't know how to react. I told him, "Make sure you fill these out and send them soon," then left for my parents' house. I had already told them what was happening, and they welcomed me with open arms. My parents were upset about his attitude, the low income, and the debt. They strongly advised me to get a divorce, which I intended to do. My dad offered to help me find a lawyer if I had trouble with the divorce process. I thanked him for his support, hoping to end the marriage quickly. A week later, my husband showed up at my parents' house. "Did you fill out the divorce papers?" I asked. He looked nervous and said, "I'm sorry, please reconsider the divorce." I was surprised by his sudden change in attitude. Although my parents were skeptical, they agreed to let him in to talk. It turned out that his promotion was a lie. He had actually been demoted to a less important job and his salary had dropped as a result. He wasn't good at his job and had been shuffled around due to poor performance. Now, he was stuck in a low-ranking position with little chance for advancement. His pride had kept him from telling me the truth, so he had pretended to be successful to boost his ego. At home, he had taken out his frustrations on me, trying to maintain a sense of superiority. When I left, I had left a copy of my bank statement behind. Even though I earned less than he did, it was still enough to support us. He admitted that he needed me and couldn't afford the rent on his own. He asked if we could try again, promising to change and not make me suffer anymore. I was unmoved and indifferent to his tears. I simply brushed him off. "If you can't afford the rent, then just move. You can find cheaper places if you're on your own. And what about the debt to your uncle? You need to pay that back, right?" When I said this, his eyes widened. He was still trying to hide the debt and start fresh. It's hard to reason with some people. I understand that he was borrowing money to get by, but if we're talking about starting over, he should have been honest about everything. My dad added, "You've been so dishonest. I can't imagine letting you have custody of our daughter now. What were you planning to do about the debt without telling her?" My husband didn't respond to my dad's comment. I kept pressing the issue, saying, "If you won't agree to the divorce, I'll hire a lawyer. Your abusive behavior is grounds for divorce, and I have evidence." He seemed to give up and took the divorce papers out of his bag. "I've really messed up beyond repair. It's too late now. We're strangers," he said. I took the papers and we split the small amount of savings we had. We moved out of our apartment, and I heard he quit his job. Apparently, news of our divorce made his already difficult work situation even worse. He said he was paying back his uncle slowly and working part-time. After the divorce, he reached out several times, asking to reconcile and saying he realized I was the only one who had been on his side. His constant pleas made me uncomfortable, so I changed my phone number. If he had set aside his pride and been honest, maybe things could have been different, but I couldn't forgive his abusive behavior, and the love had faded long ago. I walked away and focused on my career as an illustrator. I'm busy, but every day feels fulfilling. I looked out the window from my computer, thinking about how that moment of courage had changed my life. I'm living my one and only life to the fullest, with no regrets.
The envelope was thick, cream-colored, and addressed to me in my grandmother's careful handwriting. I should have known something was wrong when my mother handed it to me with that tight smile she wore whenever she was about to deliver bad news. "Happy 18th birthday, sweetheart," Mom said, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "Why don't you open Grandma's gift in the living room? Your father and I want to talk to you." My name is Presley, and until that moment, I thought I had my whole life figured out. State university in the fall, pre-med track, maybe join a sorority. Normal 18-year-old dreams funded by the college account my grandparents had set up for me before they died. I tore open the envelope, expecting a birthday card. Instead, I found a single sheet of paper, a bank statement showing a balance of $0.00. My college fund, the one that should have had over $100,000 in it, was completely empty. What is this? I held up the paper, my hands starting to shake. Mom settled into her favorite armchair, smoothing her skirt. Well, honey, we needed to make some adjustments to your college plans. Adjustments? The word came out as a croak. Dad cleared his throat from the doorway. He wouldn't even look at me. Presley, your brother's wedding. What about Frankie's wedding? It's expensive, Mom interrupted. The venue alone is $30,000, and Frankie's fiancé has her heart set on this beautiful reception hall, and the flowers and the photographer. You spent my college money on Frankie's wedding? I couldn't believe the words coming out of my mouth. We borrowed it, Dad said quietly. We'll pay it back. Borrowed it? I laughed, but nothing was funny. You borrowed money from an account that had my name on it? Money that Grandma and Grandpa saved for me. Mom's expression hardened. Don't take that tone with me, young lady. Family helps family. Your grandparents would have understood. They're dead. They can't understand anything. I was shouting now, but I didn't care. They saved that money for my education, not for Frankie's party. It's not just a party, Mom snapped. It's the most important day of his life, and you're being incredibly selfish right now. I'm being selfish? I stared at her. You stole my future and I'm the selfish one? We didn't steal anything, Dad said, finally stepping into the room. We're your parents. We made a decision that was best for the family. Best for Frankie, you mean? Your brother works hard. So do I. I've had a 4.0 GPA for 4 years. I've been planning for college since I was 14. Mom waved her hand dismissively. You're smart, Presley. You'll figure something out. Take out loans like everyone else. But Frankie only gets married once. Actually, statistically speaking, he'll probably get divorced within 5 years. That's enough. Mom's voice cracked like a whip. You're not even invited to the wedding if you're going to have this attitude. The words hit me like a physical blow. What did you say? You hurt me. We can't have you ruining Frankie's special day with your negativity. I looked back and forth between them, waiting for someone to tell me this was a joke. Dad was studying his shoes. Mom was examining her manicured nails. So let me get this straight, I said slowly. You spent my college fund on a wedding I'm not even allowed to attend? The guest list was already tight. And honestly, Presley, you've been so difficult lately, always complaining about something. I haven't complained about anything. You're complaining right now. I stood up, the bank statement crumpling in my fist. I'm going to my room. We're not finished talking about this, Mom called after me. Yes, we are. I slammed my bedroom door and locked it, then dragged my suitcase out from under the bed. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely work the zipper, but I started throwing clothes inside anyway. T-shirts, jeans, my good dress, my winter coat. Through the thin walls, I could hear my parents arguing in hushed voices. Dad's apologetic murmur, Mom's sharp responses. Something about she'll get over it and always been dramatic. I grabbed my laptop, my phone charger, and the small jewelry box that held my grandmother's ring. Everything else could stay. I didn't want anything from this house anymore. The military recruitment office would be open in the morning. I'd seen the commercials, heard the promises. They'd pay for college, give me a purpose, teach me skills. Most importantly, they'd get me as far away from here as possible. I zipped up the suitcase and sat on my bed, staring at the bank statement. $0.00. 18 years old, and they'd left me with nothing. But that was fine. I'd build my own life, make my own money, create my own future. And when I did, I'd remember exactly who was there for me when it mattered. 3 months had passed since that day at the house, and the legal machinery had ground forward with relentless efficiency. "Ready for this?" Hope asked, adjusting her briefcase strap. "I've been ready for 10 years. Inside, the courtroom was nearly empty. Just me, Hope, the prosecutor, and a few court officials. My parents sat at the defendant's table with their public defender, looking smaller than I remembered. Frankie wasn't there. He'd taken a plea deal and was already serving 6 months in county jail. "All rise," the bailiff called out. Judge Martinez took the bench, a stern woman in her 50s who'd seen every kind of family drama imaginable. She reviewed the files in front of her, then looked up at my parents. "Mr. and Mrs. Murray, you've pleaded guilty to multiple counts of identity theft, wire fraud, and tax fraud. Before I pass sentence, do you have anything to say?" Dad stood up slowly. "Your Honor, we know what we did was wrong. We were desperate, and we made terrible choices. But we never meant to hurt our daughter." "You stole over $200,000 from her," Judge Martinez said flatly. "We were going to pay it back." "With what money? You haven't had legitimate income in years." Dad sat down without answering. "Mrs. Murray." Mom stood up, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. "Your Honor, I just want my daughter to know how sorry I am. I know I can't undo what we did, but I love her. I've always loved her." "Love doesn't justify theft," the judge replied. "I know. I hope someday she can forgive us." The judge turned to me. "Ms. Murray, as the victim in this case, you have the right to make a statement before sentencing." I stood up, feeling the weight of 10 years of anger and betrayal. "Your Honor, my parents taught me that actions have consequences. They just never expected those consequences to apply to them. They stole my future when I was 18, and they've been stealing from me ever since. They claim they love me, but love doesn't forge signatures or open credit cards in someone else's name. I joined the military because they left me no choice. I built a life because they destroyed the one I had planned, and through it all, they kept taking from me. They're sorry now because they got caught. They're sorry because they're facing consequences, but they're not sorry for what they did to me." I looked directly at my parents. "You had 10 years to make this right. Instead, you made it worse. That's not love. That's selfishness." Judge Martinez nodded. "Thank you, Ms. Murray." She reviewed her notes again, then delivered the sentences. Dad got 18 months in federal prison plus 5 years probation. Mom got 15 months plus probation. Full restitution was ordered, secured by the forced sale of their house and all assets. Court is adjourned. As the bailiff led my parents away, Mom turned back to me one last time. "Presley, please." "Goodbye, Mom." Outside the courthouse, Hope and I stood in the parking lot. "How do you feel?" she asked. "Tired, but good." "Any regrets?" "Only that it took me so long to do it." My phone buzzed with a text from Kaya. "Saw the news article. You okay?" I texted back, "Better than okay. Free." "Want to grab lunch?" Hope asked. "Celebrate?" "Thanks, but I have somewhere to be." I drove across town to Riverside Cemetery, where my grandparents were buried. Their headstone was simple granite, with both their names and dates. I sat down on the grass in front of it. "Hey, Grandma. Hey, Grandpa. I know it's been a while. I wanted to tell you what happened with the money you saved for me. Mom and Dad took it, all of it, but I made sure they paid it back. I know you always said family was the most important thing, but I think you meant family that actually acts like family, not people who steal from you and call it love. I'm buying my own house now, nothing fancy, just a little place with a garden. I think you'd like it." I pulled out my phone and showed the headstone a photo of the modest 2-bedroom house I'd put an offer on. "It's got good bones, like you used to say, and it's mine, really mine. Nobody can take it away. I wish you could have met the person I became. I think you'd be proud. I'm strong now, stronger than they ever were." A car pulled up behind me. I turned to see Angelina getting out, carrying a folder. "I thought I might find you here," she said, walking over. "I have good news." "The offer was accepted?" "Congratulations, you're official a homeowner." I signed the papers right there on the grass, using my grandfather's headstone as a desk. It seemed fitting somehow. "When do you want to schedule the closing?" Angelina asked. "As soon as possible. I'm ready to start over." Fresh start? Clean start. There's a difference. As Angelina drove away, I sat with my grandparents a little longer. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink. "I know you wanted me to forgive them," I said to the headstone, "but some things can't be forgiven. Some debts can't be repaid with apologies. They made their choices. Now they get to live with the consequences." I stood up and brushed the grass off my jeans. "I love you both. Thanks for teaching me that I deserved better." Walking back to my car, I felt something I hadn't experienced in years. Peace. Not happiness exactly, but the deep satisfaction of a job completed, a debt settled, a wrong made right. My phone rang as I reached the car. Unknown number. "Hello? Presley, it's me. It's Mom. How did you get this number?" "I'm allowed one phone call. Please don't hang up." "I'm hanging up." "Wait, please. I just wanted to say—" I ended the call and blocked the number. Then I got in my car and drove toward my new life, leaving the past exactly where it belonged, behind me. The answer was nobody. The drill sergeant's voice cut through the Georgia heat like a rusty blade. "Murray, drop and give me 20. Your bunk looks like a tornado hit it." I hit the ground without hesitation. Push-up number 15 when my arms started shaking. Number 18 when I tasted blood from biting my tongue. 20 felt impossible, but I made it. "Better," Sergeant Williams barked, "but not good enough. Again." This was week 3 of basic training. My phone had exactly 12 missed calls from home and 47 unread text messages. I deleted them all without reading a single word. "You gonna call your family back?" asked Kaya, the girl in the bunk next to mine. She was from Detroit, tough as nails, and the only person here who didn't seem afraid of everything. "No family to call," I said, folding my uniform with military precision. "Everyone's got family." "Not everyone's got family worth talking to." Kaya studied me for a moment. "Fair enough. My mom's been blowing up my phone too. Keeps asking when I'm coming home for Christmas." "What do you tell her?" "That I'm not." We understood each other perfectly. The next morning brought a 5-mile run in full gear. Halfway through, my phone buzzed in my pocket. Against regulations, but I'd learned to keep it on silent. During our water break, I glanced at the screen. A photo from Frankie's Instagram. Him and his bride cutting a massive white cake, her dress probably worth more than most people's cars. The caption read, "Best day of my life. Thanks to everyone who made this possible." I showed Kaya the picture. "Damn," she said, "that's a lot of cake." "That's a lot of my money." "Your money?" I told her the whole story. The college fund, the wedding, the locked bedroom door. Kaya listened without interrupting, which I appreciated. "So you joined the army out of spite?" she asked when I finished. "I joined the army because I had nowhere else to go." Same thing. Maybe she was right. Week 6 brought weapons training. I'd never held a gun before, but something about the weight of it in my hands felt right. Steady, controlled. "Nice grouping, Murray," the instructor said, examining my target. "You've got a natural eye for this." That night, another Instagram notification. This time it was Mom, posting photos from the wedding reception. Her in a fancy dress, Dad in a tuxedo, everyone smiling and dancing. The caption made my stomach turn. "So proud of our beautiful family." I wasn't in a single photo, like I'd never existed. "You okay?" Kaya asked, noticing my expression. "Just peachy." I shoved the phone back in my locker. "Want to talk about it?" want to hit something instead. We spent an hour in the makeshift gym, taking turns on the punching bag. Kaya had good form, but I hit harder, much harder. Jesus, she said, after watching me nearly knock the bag off its chain. Remind me never to piss you off. Too late, you already asked too many questions. She laughed. I like you, Murray. You're angry, but you're honest about it. Anger's useful, keeps you focused. What are you focused on? I thought about that for a long time. Getting strong enough that nobody can ever take anything from me again. Month 2 brought news that Frankie and his wife had bought a house, a big one, according to the photos Mom kept posting. 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a pool in the backyard. The down payment alone probably cost more than I'd make in my first year of military service. Still not calling home? Kaya asked during mail call. Home's wherever I am now. That's some philosophical bullshit right there. It's practical bullshit, much more useful. She handed me a letter that had arrived for me. Mom's handwriting on the envelope, same as always. I tossed it in the trash without opening it. Aren't you curious what it says? I know what it says. We miss you, please come home, family is everything, blah, blah, blah. Same thing they always say when they want something. What if they're apologizing? They're not. How do you know? I pulled the letter out of the trash and tore it open. Kaya watched as I scanned the contents, my expression getting darker with each line. Well, she asked. They want me to send money home. Apparently Frankie's having trouble with his mortgage payments. Are you serious? Dead serious. Mom says it's my duty as family to help out however I can. Kaya stared at me. That's insane. That's my family. I crumpled up the letter and tossed it back in the trash. But here's the thing about military pay. It's mine. Every single penny goes into an account they can't touch, can't access, can't even find. Smart. I'm learning. That night, I opened a separate savings account at a bank 3 states away. Every paycheck, every bonus, every extra dollar went straight into that account. I lived on the bare minimum, saved everything else. Kaya found me in the mess hall the next morning, staring at my phone. More family drama? Frankie's getting divorced. Apparently his wife found out about his gambling problem. Ouch. The wedding lasted 8 months. My college fund paid for an 8-month marriage. That's gotta hurt. I looked up at her. You know what? It doesn't hurt anymore. It's just information. Information you can use? Information I'm definitely going to use. 10 years later, I was sitting in my apartment reviewing mortgage pre-approval documents when my phone rang. The caller ID made my blood freeze. Mom. I hadn't spoken to her in 3 years. The last time was when she called to tell me Dad had a heart attack. Turned out to be heartburn, but she'd made it sound like he was dying just to get me to call back. Hello, Mom. Presley, oh honey, I'm so glad you answered. I wasn't sure you'd... What do you want? Silence. Then that familiar wounded tone. Can't a mother just call to check on her daughter? You can, but you don't. So what do you want? Well, if you must know, we're going through a difficult time right now. I waited. She'd always been dramatic, but something in her voice sounded different, desperate. Your father and I are being evicted, Presley. We have 30 days to find a new place to live. That's unfortunate. Unfortunate? Her voice cracked. We're about to be homeless. How did that happen? It's complicated. The economy, you know, and your father's health issues. And Frankie's been struggling since his divorce. Frankie's divorce was 7 years ago, Mom. Yes, well, we've been helping him get back on his feet. Family helps family. There it was. The same line she'd used when she stole my college fund. So you're calling me because you need money. We're calling because we need our daughter. We made mistakes, Presley. We know that now. But we're family, and family forgives. Family forgives. I repeated. That's interesting. We've been looking at apartments, but everything requires first month, last month, security deposit. It's thousands of dollars we don't have. And you want me to pay for it? You have those military benefits, don't you? The VA loan program? We thought maybe you could help us find a place, co-sign for us until we get back on our feet. I almost laughed. You want me to use my VA benefits to buy you a house? Not buy, just help us qualify for a rental, or maybe a small starter home. Nothing fancy. We're not asking for much. Where's Frankie in all this? He's having his own problems right now. Lost his job last month. He's actually staying with us, which is part of why we need more space. So you want me to get you a bigger place so Frankie can live there too? Just temporarily, until he gets back on his feet. Right, back on his feet. How long has he been getting back on his feet now? Presley, please, we're desperate. We have nowhere else to turn. I stared out my window at the city skyline. 10 years of military service, 2 deployments, a college degree paid for with my own blood and sweat. I'd built a life they couldn't touch, couldn't take, couldn't ruin. I'll think about it. Really? Oh, Presley, thank you. I knew you'd. I said, I'll think about it. Of course, but you'll call us back soon? I'll call you back. I hung up and immediately dialed Kaya. She was stationed in California now, but we talked every few weeks. Let me guess, she said without preamble. Family drama? How did you know? You only call me with that tone when someone's pissed you off. What did they do now? I told her about the call. Kaya listened without interrupting, which was still one of my favorite things about her. So they want you to buy them a house, she said when I finished. Basically, after stealing your college money for a wedding that lasted 8 months, yep, and now they're homeless because they've been supporting your deadbeat brother for 7 years. That's the situation. And you told them you'd think about it. I did. Presley, please tell me you're not actually considering this? I was quiet for a long moment. I'm considering something. That doesn't sound good. It's not good. It's necessary. What are you planning? I'm not sure yet, but they called me, Kaya. After 10 years of nothing, they called me because they need something, and they think I'm just going to roll over and help them. Are you? I'm going to help them, all right? Just not the way they think. Presley, they want to use my VA benefits? Fine. I'll show them exactly how those benefits work. This sounds like revenge. This sounds like justice. Same thing, different packaging. Maybe. But they made their choices 10 years ago. Now they get to live with the consequences. And what about you? What are the consequences for you? I thought about that. I guess I'll find out. Just be careful, okay? Revenge has a way of burning everyone involved. Some things need to burn. After I hung up, I sat in my apartment for a long time, thinking. Then I opened my laptop and started researching real estate agents in my hometown. If my parents wanted my help buying a house, I'd give them exactly what they asked for. I found an agent named Angelina who specialized in VA loans. Her website said she was experienced, professional, and discreet. Perfect. I picked up my phone and called Mom back. Presley, I was hoping you'd call tonight. I've been thinking about what you said, about family helping family. Yes, I want to help you find a house, a real house, not just a rental. Oh my God, really? Presley, that's wonderful. I can't believe. I'll be in town next weekend to look at properties. Have Dad get all your financial documents together, tax returns, bank statements, everything. We'll need them for the loan application. Of course, whatever you need. Good. I'll set up some appointments with a realtor. We'll find you the perfect place. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you so much. I knew you'd come through for us. Yeah, Mom, I always come through. Angelina met me at the coffee shop downtown, her smile professional but warm. She was exactly what I'd hoped for. Sharp, experienced, and someone who clearly knew how to handle difficult situations. "So you're looking to help your parents purchase a home using your VA benefits," she said. "That's very generous of you." "Family helps family," I said, the words tasting bitter in my mouth. "Of course. Now, I should mention that there are some legal requirements when using VA loans for family members. The property has to be your primary residence, or you need to be listed as a co-owner. I understand. I'll be moving back to help take care of them." It wasn't technically a lie. I would be moving back, just not in the way my parents expected. "Wonderful. I've lined up several properties that might work. When can your parents meet us?" "This Saturday. They're very excited." That was an understatement. Mom had called me 3 times since Monday, each conversation more gushing than the last. Dad had even gotten on the phone once to thank me, his voice thick with emotion. Saturday morning, I pulled into my parents' driveway for the first time in a decade. The house looked smaller than I remembered, with peeling paint and a sagging front porch. Dad's car had a cracked windshield, and Mom's had a dent in the passenger door. Mom burst out the front door before I could even turn off the engine. "Presley, oh my God, look at you!" She wrapped me in a hug that smelled like cheap perfume and desperation. "You look so grown up, so successful." "Hi, Mom." Dad appeared behind her, moving slower than I remembered. "Welcome home, sweetheart." "Thanks, Dad." Come in, come in. I made coffee. We have so much to catch up on." The inside of the house was worse than the outside. Stacks of unpaid bills on the kitchen counter, furniture that looked like it came from garage sales, and a general air of barely holding together. "Where's Frankie?" I asked. "He's still sleeping," Mom said quickly. "You know how he is in the mornings." "It's 11 o'clock. He's been having a rough time lately. The job market is so competitive." I nodded like I believed her. "Well, we should get going. Angelina's meeting us at the first house in 20 minutes. "Oh, I'm so excited." Mom clapped her hands together. "I can't believe we're actually doing this. After everything we've been through, to have our daughter come home and help us like this. It's what family does." The first house was a modest 3-bedroom ranch in a decent neighborhood. Nothing fancy, but clean and well-maintained. Angelina met us in the driveway with a folder full of paperwork. "This one's been on the market for 60 days, she explained as we walked to the front door. Mom and Dad practically bounced through the house, pointing out features and discussing paint colors. Mom loved the kitchen, Dad was impressed by the garage, and both of them kept looking at me with grateful smiles. "The master bedroom is perfect," Mom said, opening closet doors. "And look, there's even a guest room for when you visit." "Actually," I said, "I'll need one of the bedrooms. Remember, I'm moving back to help take care of you." "Of course, the guest room can be yours. It has such nice natural light." "What about Frankie?" I asked. "Where will he sleep?" Mom and Dad exchanged glances. "Well, he could use the basement," Dad said. "We could fix it up nice. Or maybe he could find his own place." "Eventually," Mom said. "But you know how expensive rent is these days." We looked at 2 more houses that afternoon. Each one bigger and more expensive than the last. By the third house, a 4-bedroom colonial with a 2-car garage, my parents were practically giddy. "This is the one," Mom whispered to me as we stood in the spacious living room. "This is perfect." "It's a bit over budget," Angelina said diplomatically. "How much over?" I asked. "About 40,000. Dad's face fell. "That's too much. We can't ask you to." "We'll make it work," I said. "I want you to have the house you deserve." Mom actually started crying. "Presley, I can't believe how wonderful you're being. After everything that happened, after the way we know we made mistakes." "Water under the bridge," I said. "We're family." On the drive back to their house, Mom chattered nonstop about decorating plans and housewarming parties. Dad kept thanking me every few minutes. "I just want you to know," he said, as I pulled into their driveway, "this means everything to us. Having you back, having you help us like this, we're going to make it up to you." I'm sure you will, Dad. As they got out of the car, Frankie appeared in the doorway. He looked exactly like I remembered. Same cocky smirk, same entitled posture, but with the added bonus of being unshaven and wearing pajama pants at 3 in the afternoon. Well, well, he said, not bothering to come outside. Look who decided to come home. Hello, Frankie. Heard you're buying Mom and Dad a house. That's real generous of you. Family helps family. Right, family. He leaned against the doorframe. You know, I've been thinking about getting my own place, too. Maybe something with a pool. Maybe you should get a job first. His smirk faltered. I'm between opportunities right now. For 7 years? Presley, Mom said quickly, why don't you come in for dinner? I'm making your favorite. Thanks, but I need to get back to my hotel. Angelina wants to meet tomorrow to go over the paperwork. Of course, business first. I'm just so proud of how responsible you've become. I drove away with their grateful waves in my rearview mirror. Tomorrow, I'd start the real work. Tonight, I had some phone calls to make. The first call was to Sergio, the forensic accountant I'd hired 2 weeks ago. How's the investigation going? Better than expected. I found some interesting discrepancies in your parents' financial records. We should meet soon. How soon? How about Monday? I think you're going to want to see this in person. Perfect. Send me the address. The second call was to Hope, the legal aid lawyer who'd agreed to take my case. Are you sure you want to proceed with this? She asked. Once we start, there's no going back. I'm sure. And you understand the potential consequences for them and for you? I understand perfectly. All right then, I'll have everything ready by next weekend. I hung up and stared at my hotel room ceiling. My parents thought they were getting a free house. Frankie thought he was getting a free ride. They were all about to learn that nothing in life is free. Monday morning, I met Sergio at his office downtown. He was a thin man with wire-rimmed glasses and the kind of methodical energy that made me trust him immediately. Coffee? He offered, gesturing to a chair across from his desk. Please. He poured 2 cups and opened a thick folder. I've been digging into your parents' finances for the past 2 weeks. What I found is extensive. How extensive? Let's start with the obvious. Your college fund. He pulled out a bank statement. $112,000 withdrawn in increments over 6 months in 2013. But here's what's interesting. Only $68,000 went to wedding expenses. Where did the rest go? Credit card debt. Your parents had been living beyond their means for years. The wedding was just the final straw. He showed me another document. But that's not the worst part. Look at this. It was a credit card application from 2014. My name was on it, along with my social security number and a forged signature. They opened this 6 months after you enlisted, Sergio said. Maximum credit limit, $25,000. I never signed this. I know. There are 3 more just like it. He spread them across the desk. Total credit extended in your name, $87,000. My hands were shaking as I picked up each application. They've been using my credit for 10 years? Gets worse. They've been making minimum payments to keep the accounts active, but the balances keep growing. With interest and fees, you're currently on the hook for about $130,000. That's impossible. My credit score is excellent. Because they've been paying the minimums. Just enough to keep you from finding out, but not enough to actually pay down the debt. I stared at the papers. This is identity theft. Yes, it is. Federal crime, actually. I have documentation going back to 2014. What else? They took out a home equity loan against their house, using your military service record to qualify for better rates, claimed you were living with them and contributing to the mortgage. I've never lived with them as an adult. I know, but on paper, you've been their primary source of income for years. He pulled out more documents. Tax returns, loan applications, even a disability claim that listed me as a caregiver. They've been committing fraud in your name for a decade, Presley. This isn't just family drama, this is criminal. I set down my coffee cup. How much total? Conservative estimate? $250,000 in debt, fraud, and stolen funds. That's not counting the interest and penalties you'll face if this continues. And they have no idea I know about this? None. As far as they're concerned, you're their golden ticket to a new house and a fresh start. I gathered up the papers. Can you have copies of everything ready by Friday? Already done. 3 complete sets. One for you, one for your attorney, and one for law enforcement, if you decide to press charges. I'm definitely pressing charges. Are you sure? These are your parents. These are criminals who happen to share my DNA. That afternoon, I drove to my parents' house. Mom was in the kitchen, surrounded by real estate magazines and paint samples. Presley, perfect timing. I've been looking at color schemes for the new house. That's nice, Mom. I actually need to talk to you and Dad about the mortgage application. Of course, your father's in the living room. We have all the paperwork ready. Dad was watching TV, but he muted it when I walked in. How did the meeting with the realtor go? Good, but the lender needs some additional documentation. Tax returns for the past 5 years, bank statements, credit reports. Credit reports? Mom's voice got tight. Is that really necessary? Standard procedure for VA loans. They need to verify that you can handle the monthly payments. Our credit isn't perfect, Dad said quietly. We've had some struggles. That's okay. The VA program is designed to help families in difficult situations, but I need complete transparency. Any debts, any late payments, any financial issues, everything needs to be disclosed. Mom and Dad exchanged glances. There might be a few things, Mom said. What kind of things? Credit cards, mostly. We had to use them when your father was out of work. How many credit cards? A few. Mom, I need exact numbers. The lender will find out anyway. She disappeared into the kitchen and came back with a shoebox full of statements. Maybe 8 or 9 cards? Some of them are pretty maxed out. I opened the box and started going through the papers. Bills from stores I'd never heard of, cash advances, late payment notices, and there, mixed in with everything else, were statements for the cards in my name. What's this? I held up one of the statements. Oh, that. Mom wouldn't meet my eyes. We had to put you as an authorized user on some accounts for emergencies. Authorized user? It helped our credit score, having your military record associated with the accounts. Mom, this says I'm the primary account holder. Does it? I don't really understand all that financial stuff. I pulled out my phone and called Angelina. I need to postpone the house showings this weekend. Some issues with the financial documentation. Of course. Is everything all right? Just some paperwork complications. I'll call you next week. After I hung up, Mom looked panicked. What's wrong? Why are we postponing? Because I need to understand exactly what I'm getting into before I sign anything. Presley, please. We've been so excited about this house. We've already told the neighbors we're moving. Then you shouldn't have lied to me about the credit cards. We didn't lie. We didn't want to worry you with all the details. The details matter, Mom, especially when my name is on the accounts. Dad finally spoke up. We were going to tell you, after we got the house and got back on our feet. Tell me what? About the cards, about the loans. We never meant for it to get this complicated. How complicated is it? We owe some money, more than we expected. How much money? Maybe 50,000, 60 at most. I looked at the statements in my hands. Just the cards I could see added up to more than that. I set down my phone. Presley, please don't change your mind. We need this house. We need your help. I'm not changing my mind. I'm just making sure I understand what I'm agreeing to. We'll pay you back, every penny, as soon as we're settled. I know you will, Mom. But as I drove back to my hotel, I knew the only thing they'd be paying back was their debt to society. My phone buzzed with a text from Hope. Everything ready for Friday? Are you sure you want to go through with this? I typed back, more sure than ever. Some debts could only be paid one way. Friday morning arrived gray and drizzly. I met Angelina at the Colonial House 30 minutes early to make sure everything was set up properly. The sellers agreed to let us use their dining room for the paperwork, she said, unlocking the front door. Very accommodating of them. Perfect. My parents should be here around 10. And the other people you mentioned? They'll be here too. Just some additional consultants to help with the financial aspects. Angelina nodded, though I could see questions in her eyes. She was too professional to ask, but she sensed something was off. Sergio arrived first, carrying a leather briefcase and wearing his most serious suit. Hope came 5 minutes later, her own briefcase in hand and a grim expression on her face. "You sure about this?" Hope asked quietly as we arranged chairs around the dining room table. "I've never been more sure of anything in my life. Once we start, there's no taking it back." "Good. I don't want to take it back." At exactly 10 o'clock, my parents' car pulled into the driveway. Mom practically bounced out of the passenger seat, clutching a folder of documents. Dad moved more slowly, but he was smiling. And there, climbing out of the back seat, was Frankie. "I brought reinforcements," Mom called out as they approached the front door. "Frankie wanted to see his new home too." "How thoughtful," I said, opening the door for them. "Wow," Frankie said, looking around the foyer. "This place is nice, really nice." "It's perfect," Mom gushed. "Presley, you've made us so happy." "I'm glad. Why don't we go into the dining room? I have some people I'd like you to meet." I led them to the table where Sergio and Hope were sitting. "Mom, Dad, Frankie, this is Sergio. He's a forensic accountant who's been helping me understand the financial aspects of the loan." "Forensic accountant?" Dad's smile faltered slightly. "And this is Hope. She's a lawyer who specializes in real estate transactions." "A lawyer?" Mom's voice went up an octave. "Is that really necessary?" "When you're dealing with VA loans, it's important to have proper legal representation. Please, sit down." They took seats across from us, Mom still clutching her folder. Frankie slouched in his chair, looking bored. "So," Angelina said, opening her own folder, "shall we begin with the mortgage application?" "Actually," I said, "I think we should start with full disclosure. Sergio, would you mind explaining what you found?" Sergio opened his briefcase and pulled out a thick stack of documents. "Of course, I've been conducting a comprehensive financial audit, and I've discovered some concerning discrepancies." "What kind of discrepancies?" Dad asked. "Well, let's start with the credit cards opened in Presley's name without her knowledge or consent." The color drained from Mom's face. "I don't know what you're talking about." Sergio placed the first credit card statement on the table. This account was opened in 2014 using Presley's social security number and a forged signature. "That's impossible," Mom said, but her voice was shaking. "Here's the application," Sergio said, sliding it across the table. "That's your handwriting, isn't it?" Mom stared at the paper. It was an emergency." There were 4 such emergencies, apparently. Sergio laid out the other applications. Total fraudulent debt in Presley's name, $137,000. "Jesus Christ," Frankie muttered. "But that's not all," Sergio continued. "There's also the matter of the home equity loan you took out using false information about Presley's residence and income." "We never," Dad started. "You claimed she was living with you and contributing $3,000 monthly to household expenses. You used her military service record to qualify for preferential rates." Hope leaned forward. "What Mr. Sergio is describing constitutes multiple federal crimes: identity theft, wire fraud, loan fraud, and tax fraud." "Tax fraud?" Frankie sat up straighter. "You've been claiming Presley as a dependent on your tax returns for the past 6 years," Hope explained, "while she was filing her own returns and claiming herself." "That's double fraud," Sergio added helpfully. Mom was crying now. "We didn't mean for it to get this bad. We were just trying to survive." "With what money?" Sergio asked. "According to my analysis, you've been living off fraudulent credit for nearly a decade." Frankie stood up abruptly. "I'm not part of this. Whatever they did, I had nothing to do with it." "Actually," I said, speaking for the first time since the revelations began, "you had everything to do with it. The initial theft was to pay for your wedding. Everything after that was to support your lifestyle." "That's not my fault." "Isn't it? You've been living in their house rent-free for 7 years. You knew they didn't have jobs. Where did you think the money was coming from?" I didn't ask questions. No, you just took the benefits. Dad was staring at the documents spread across the table. Presley, please, we're your parents. We made mistakes, but we're family. Family, I repeated. You know what you told me 10 years ago? That family helps family. Well, this is me helping. How is this helping? Mom sobbed. I'm helping you face the consequences of your actions, something you should have done years ago. Hope pulled out another folder. These are your options. You can voluntarily surrender all assets obtained through fraudulent means, make full restitution to Presley, and cooperate with federal investigators. Or, Dad asked weakly, or we file criminal charges and let the courts sort it out. You'd send your own parents to prison? Mom asked. You sent yourselves to prison the moment you forged my signature. Angelina, who had been sitting quietly through the entire exchange, finally spoke. I think it's safe to say the house purchase is off the table. Very off the table, I agreed. Frankie was pacing now. This is insane. You're destroying your own family over money. They destroyed this family over money 10 years ago. I'm just presenting the bill. So what happens now? Hope slid a document across the table. This is a restitution agreement. You have 48 hours to sign it and begin asset liquidation, or we proceed with criminal charges. We don't have any assets, Mom said. You have the house, Sergio said. It's worth about $180,000. That's a start. You want us to sell our house? I want you to sell the house you bought with stolen money and fraudulent loans. Mom looked at me with desperate eyes. Presley, please, we're begging you. We'll do anything. You'll do exactly what's in that agreement. Nothing more, nothing less. And if we don't? Hope answered for me. Then you'll do it anyway, but from a federal prison. I stood up and walked to the window, looking at the house my parents would never own. You have 48 hours to decide. Choose wisely. Where are we supposed to live? Dad asked. That's not my problem anymore. You're really going to leave us with nothing? I turned back to face them. You left me with nothing 10 years ago. I survived. I'm sure you'll figure it out. The sound of sirens in the distance made everyone freeze. Angelina had called them as a precaution, just in case things got out of hand. That's our cue to leave, Hope said, gathering her papers. As we walked toward the door, Mom called out one last time. Presley, please, we're sorry. We're so sorry. I paused in the doorway. I know you are, Mom. You're sorry you got caught. The police cars pulled up just as we reached the sidewalk. 2 officers got out, and Hope immediately approached them. Officers, thank you for coming. We have a situation involving financial fraud that may require intervention. Are there any immediate threats? The first officer asked. No physical threats, but we've just presented evidence of identity theft and fraud to the perpetrators. They may become desperate. Through the window, I could see my parents huddled around the dining room table, Frankie gesturing wildly as he read through the documents. Mom was still crying, her shoulders shaking. Ma'am, the second officer said to me, are you the victim in this case? Yes, my parents have been using my identity to commit fraud for 10 years. And you just confronted them about it? We presented them with evidence and options for restitution. The officer nodded. We'll stay nearby in case they try to leave or become confrontational. As if on cue, the front door burst open. Frankie stormed out, his face red with rage. This is bullshit, he shouted, pointing at me. You're destroying your own family. Sir, please calm down, the first officer said, stepping forward. Calm down? She's trying to put our parents in prison. They put themselves in prison, I said evenly. I just provided the evidence. Over money. It's just money. It's my money. Money they stole. They're your parents. And you're my brother. That didn't stop you from taking everything I had. Frankie took a step toward me, but the officer moved between us. Sir, I need you to step back. She's crazy. She planned this whole thing. She never intended to help them. You're right, I said. I never intended to help them. I intended to expose them. Why? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with me? I spent 10 years in the military because you stole my college fund. I've been paying for your mistakes my entire adult life. And now I find out you've been stealing from me this whole time? We didn't steal from you. Sergio stepped forward with his briefcase. Actually, you did. Would you like to see the documentation? I don't want to see anything. This is family business. Identity theft is federal business, Hope said calmly. Mom appeared in the doorway, her face streaked with tears. Presley, please, can we talk? Just the two of us? We can talk right here. Please, honey, I'm your mother. You're a criminal who happens to be my mother. Don't say that. It's true. You've been committing crimes in my name for a decade. Dad joined them on the porch, moving slowly like an old man. Presley, we'll sign the papers. We'll do whatever you want. It's not about what I want anymore, Dad. It's about what the law requires. We'll sell the house. We'll pay you back every penny. With what? You don't have jobs. You don't have income. You've been living off stolen credit. We'll figure it out. You've had 10 years to figure it out. Instead, you kept stealing. Mom stepped closer to the officer. She's our daughter. Can't we work this out as a family? Ma'am, identity theft is a serious crime. If she wants to press charges, that's her right. I do want to press charges, I said. Presley, no. Mom's voice cracked. Please, we'll lose everything. You already lost everything. You just don't know it yet. Frankie was pacing on the porch like a caged animal. This is insane. You're going to destroy us over money that's already spent. I'm going to hold you accountable for money you stole. It's not like we bought yachts and mansions. We used it to survive. You used it to live beyond your means. There's a difference. We're family. Family doesn't steal from each other. We borrowed it without permission. That's called theft. Hope pulled out her phone. I'm calling the federal prosecutor's office. They'll want to interview everyone involved. Wait, Dad said quickly. We'll sign the agreement right now. It's too late for that, I said. What do you mean? I mean the agreement was your chance to handle this quietly. You chose to argue instead. We didn't choose anything. You ambushed us. I gave you exactly what you asked for, a meeting about buying a house. You just didn't realize it was a different kind of meeting. The first officer stepped forward. Folks, I think we need to move this conversation to the station. Are you arresting us? Mom asked, her voice barely a whisper. We're going to need statements from everyone, and we'll need to secure any evidence. What evidence? Frankie demanded. Sergio held up his briefcase. Financial records, forged documents, fraudulent applications. Everything your family has been doing for the past 10 years. You can't prove we did anything wrong. Actually, I can. Your mother's handwriting is on every forged document. Your father's signature is on every fraudulent loan application. And you've been living off the proceeds. I didn't know. You knew enough to keep your mouth shut and take the benefits. Mom collapsed onto the porch steps, sobbing. We're going to lose everything. The house, our reputation, everything. You lost your reputation the day you stole from your daughter. We were desperate. So was I when you left me with nothing at 18. I didn't turn to crime. You turned to the military. I turned to honest work. There's a difference. The second officer approached with handcuffs. Ma'am, we're going to need you to come with us. Are you arresting me? We're detaining you for questioning regarding financial fraud. Presley, please. Mom reached toward me as the officer helped her to her feet. I'm your mother. I gave birth to you. And I gave you 18 years of my life. We're even. Don't say that, Frankie shouted as another officer approached him. You can't destroy your own family and expect to get away with it. I'm not destroying anything. I'm revealing what was already destroyed. You'll regret this. The only thing I regret is not doing it sooner. As they led my parents and brother to the police cars, Mom looked back at me one last time. I love you, Presley. No matter what happens, I love you. I know, Mom, but love isn't enough to fix what you've done. The cars pulled away, leaving me standing on the sidewalk with Hope, Sergio, and Angelina. The house that was supposed to be my parents' dream home loomed behind us, empty and silent. "How do you feel?" Hope asked. "Like I can finally breathe." "Any second thoughts?" "None." "Good, because this is just the beginning." I looked at the house one last time, then walked to my car. 10 years of planning, and it was finally over. Or maybe it was just beginning. The courthouse steps were slick with morning dew as I walked up to meet Hope for the sentencing hearing.
I'm standing in Terminal 3 of O'Hare International, watching my husband's family breeze through security like they own the place. My mother-in-law Wendy's designer luggage probably costs more than my first car. The thing is, I'm the one who supposedly paid for all of this. Their first-class tickets, the beachfront villa, the private tours, $25,000 of tropical paradise, charged to my credit card without my knowledge or consent. My name is Alison, and I've spent the last 8 years being the family ATM for the Zimmermans. "Honey, aren't you coming?" Gavin calls out, his voice carrying that familiar note of passive-aggressive concern. He's already slipped off his shoes, ready for the security check. "No," I say simply. The word feels foreign on my tongue. 8 years of yes, and finally, no. Wendy's perfectly penciled eyebrows shoot up. "What do you mean, no? Everything's booked. Don't be difficult, dear." I pull out my phone and open my banking app. Funny thing about bookings, they can be cancelled, which I did, last night, all of them. The change in their expressions would be comical if it wasn't so infuriating. Soleil, my sister-in-law, nearly drops her phone. "You what?" "I also reported the charges as fraudulent," I continue, my voice steady despite my racing heart. "Since, I never authorised them." "But we discussed this." Wendy's voice rises, drawing attention from nearby travellers. "It was decided." "You decided, without me, just like you decided I'd fund Soleil's emergency Botox last month and Ronnie's investment seminar in Vegas." Gavin steps toward me, that placating smile I've grown to hate spreading across his face. "Ali, come on, you're making a scene. We can talk about this on the island." "No, we really can't, because I'm not going." My phone buzzes, a text from my best friend Charlie. "Did you do it yet? Give 'em hell." Ronnie, my brother-in-law, finally speaks up. "This is ridiculous. The villa deposit alone was $5,000. You can't just—" "Watch me," I turn to Gavin. "By the way, I moved out last night. The divorce papers are being drawn up as we speak." Now people are definitely staring. Reese, Soleil's teenage daughter, is filming everything on her phone, probably for her precious social media. Let her. "You ungrateful little—" Wendy starts, but I cut her off. "Save it! Your flight's boarding soon. Better hurry, though I'm not sure how far you'll get without confirmed reservations or my credit card." Gavin grabs my arm. "Alison, stop this right now!" I wrench away from him. "Touch me again, and I'll have security here so fast your head will spin." "Fine," he spits. "Fine, let's go everyone. She'll calm down eventually. She always does." That's what he thinks, what they all think. 8 years of calming down, of writing checks, of swallowing my pride while they lived large on my dime. Not anymore. I watch them walk away, Wendy's heels clicking against the terminal floor, Soleil already on her phone, probably trying to damage control, Reese trailing behind them all like a sullen shadow. They don't look back. They're so certain I'll cave, so sure I'll call and apologise, book new tickets, beg to be included. My phone buzzes again. "Charlie, coffee? I'm outside in pickup." "On my way," I type back, hands shaking slightly as the adrenaline begins to ebb. I'm halfway to the exit when the first message comes through, then another and another. My phone lights up like a Christmas tree with increasingly panicked texts from various family members. "The resort has no record of our booking." "What did you do to the tickets?" "The car service isn't here." "Fix this now." I silence my phone and step out into the crisp Chicago morning. Charlie's red Subaru is idling by the curb, and she's grinning like a Cheshire cat through the windshield. "So?" she asks as I slide into the passenger seat. "How'd it feel?" I let out a long breath I didn't know I was holding. Like jumping off a cliff, but in a good way. Girl, this is just the beginning. Wait until they figure out what else you've done. She's right. The cancelled vacation is just the tip of the iceberg. I've spent weeks preparing, documenting, building my case. They thought they could use me forever, but they forgot one crucial detail. I'm not just the family ATM. I'm a woman with nothing left to lose. My phone keeps lighting up with messages I won't read. Not yet. Right now, I want to savor this moment, the first morning of my new life, the taste of freedom sharp and sweet on my tongue. Charlie pulls away from the curb, and I don't look back at the terminal. I don't need to. I know exactly what's happening in there, and for once it's not my problem to fix. Remember Wendy's 60th birthday party? I asked Charlie as we settle into our favourite corner booth at the Coffee Bean. $10,000 for one night. The one where she complained about the caviar selection? Charlie stirs her latte with unnecessary force. Or was that the Christmas party you also paid for? Both, actually. I pull out my laptop, opening a spreadsheet I've maintained for the past 3 years. But the birthday party was special. That's when I started keeping track. Charlie leans forward, eyes widening at the numbers on my screen. Holy shit, Ali, this is $273,000, I finish. Give or take a few thousand in cash loans they never repaid. My phone buzzes again. This time it's Soleil. The hotel won't let us check in. Mum's having a meltdown in the lobby. Fix this now. I ignore it and pull up another document. Look at this. 3 days before they surprised me with the island vacation plans, Soleil sent this email to my spam folder. Charlie reads aloud. Just checking if you increased your credit limit like we discussed. We need to book everything ASAP. But you never discussed it. Never. They just assumed, like always. I take a sip of my coffee, remembering the first time they pulled this trick. It started small, you know. Tell me, Charlie says, settling in. 2 months after the wedding, Wendy called about a family emergency. Soleil's car had been repossessed. Could I help? Just this once? I laugh bitterly. Next thing I know, I'm buying her a new BMW because public transport isn't safe for a woman of her status. My phone rings. Gavin. Decline. Then came Ronnie's investment schemes. 5 grand here, 10 grand there, always guaranteed returns that never materialised. And Gavin. I clench my fist. He just stood there every single time saying they're family, Ali. We have to help family. While they treated you like an outsider, Charlie finishes. Exactly. Last Thanksgiving, Wendy actually said, right to my face, "It's so wonderful how you contribute to the family, dear, since you can't give us grandchildren." She didn't. Oh, she did, right after I paid for Reese's Sweet 16 weekend in New York. My laptop pings with an email notification. I click it and feel my blood run cold. Charlie, I whisper, look at this. She comes around to my side of the booth and reads the loan application confirmation. It's in both my name and Gavin's, dated 3 weeks ago. He forged your signature, she says flatly, on a $100,000 loan. My hands are shaking, and this might not be the only one. Charlie's already on her phone. I'm calling Marcus. He's the best fraud investigator I know. While she talks, I dig deeper into our joint accounts. Each click reveals another horror. Credit cards I never knew about, investment accounts drained, signatures that look almost, but not quite, like mine. Marcus can meet us in an hour, Charlie announces. And Ali, he says to screenshot everything, now. I'm halfway through documenting the evidence when another text comes through. This one's from an unknown number. It's Alec, Gavin's cousin. We need to talk. I know what they've been doing. Charlie reads over my shoulder. The black sheep cousin? Can you trust him? I don't know, but right now. I show her another loan document I've just discovered. I need all the help I can get. My phone starts ringing again. Wendy this time. I silence it and look up at Charlie. You know what the worst part is? They're not even rich. It's all smoke and mirrors. Designer clothes bought on credit, leased luxury cars, mortgaged houses they can barely afford. They're drowning in debt, and I've been their life raft. Not anymore, Charlie says firmly. Now, you're their worst nightmare. A woman with receipts and nothing left to lose. I close my laptop and take a deep breath. The vacation was supposed to be their grand finale. They were planning to ask me to invest in Ronnie's new crypto scheme, another 100 grand. But instead, they're stuck on an island with no hotel, no transportation, and no access to my money. I allow myself a small smile, and in about an hour they're going to discover I've frozen all the accounts they forged my name on. Charlie raises her coffee cup. To Karma. I clink my cup against hers just as another text comes through. This one makes my heart stop. From Alec, I tell Charlie. He says Gavin's been taking out loans in my name for years, and he can prove it. Charlie's eyes gleam. Ready to go nuclear? I grab my laptop and stand. Beyond ready. Let's go see Marcus. The coffee shop door chimes as we leave, and I feel lighter than I have in years. They thought they could bury me in debt and obligation. Instead, they taught me how to dig my way out, and bury them instead. The videos start rolling in around midnight. Someone's posting them to Instagram, and they're spreading like wildfire. Wendy, her perfect hair now dishevelled, screaming at a resort concierge. Soleil sprawled dramatically across a hotel lobby sofa, mascara-stained tears running down her face. Reese documenting it all with running commentary. This is like literally the worst day of my life. Oh my God, Charlie wheezes, nearly choking on her wine. Is your mother-in-law trying to climb over the reception desk? Was trying, I correct, forwarding the clip to Marcus. Security stopped her. We're camped out in Charlie's living room, watching the chaos unfold on our phones when Alec calls. I put him on speaker. You sure you want to meet? Charlie asked before I can speak. It's fine, Alec's voice comes through clear. I've been waiting for someone to stand up to them for years. I'm at the Starbucks on Michigan Avenue. 20 minutes. I look at Charlie, who nods. We'll be there. The Starbucks is nearly empty when we arrive. Alec stands out, tall, dressed simply in jeans and a button-down, nothing like the flashy designer wear his cousins favour. He waves us over to a corner table. Thanks for coming, he says, sliding a USB drive across the table. Everything's here, loan applications, forged documents, emails. Gavin's been busy. I plug the drive into my laptop. Files pop up, dozens of them. How did you get these? I work in digital forensics. Gavin asked me to help him clean up some files last month. He thought I was still the same pushover they could manipulate. Alec's smile is grim. I made copies instead. Charlie leans in, scanning the documents. Holy shit! These loans go back 3 years. At least, Alec confirms. They've been planning this island trip for months. It was supposed to be phase 1 of something bigger. My stomach drops. What do you mean? They're broke, Alison. All of them. Wendy's retirement fund is empty. Soleil's about to lose her house. Ronnie's investments are all pyramid schemes. He pauses. They were going to ask you to remortgage your condo. Use the money to save the family. A new video notification pops up on my phone. This time it's Ronnie, trying to sweet-talk the island police who've been called to remove them from the resort property. Look at this, Charlie points to an email chain. Gavin's been applying for jobs in the Cayman Islands, non-extradition country. They were going to take everything, I whisper, and run. Yeah, Alex says softly, but you beat them to it. My phone rings, Gavin again. This time I answer and put it on speaker. Having fun? I ask sweetly. Alison, this is insane. We're stranded here. Mum's having panic attacks. Just put the cards back on and we can talk about this when... When what, Gavin? When you've finished transferring our assets to the Caymans? Silence. Then, who told you? Does it matter? It's all documented. The loans, the forgeries, everything. Marcus. You remember Marcus, right? The fraud investigator. He's very interested in your paperwork. You're bluffing. But his voice shakes. Check your email. I sent you some screenshots. Oh, and the police report I filed this morning. Fraud charges are just the beginning. More silence. Then Wendy's voice in the background. Give me that phone. Listen here, you ungrateful little... Wendy starts. No, You listen, I cut in. In about an hour, all those credit cards you've been using, they're getting cancelled. The accounts you forged my name on, frozen, and that retirement fund you've been bragging about, better check the balance. You can't do this to us, Wendy shrieks. We're family. No, I say clearly. You're criminals, and I have proof. I hang up as Wendy starts screaming again. Alec looks impressed. That felt good, I admit. It's not over, he warns. They'll fight back. Let them. I close my laptop. I've got everything backed up in triplicate, copies with my lawyer, my bank, and the police. My phone pings with a text from Reese. Aunt Allie, I know you hate us right now, but I'm scared. Mum's acting crazy and Grandma's talking about swimming to the mainland. Should I respond? I ask Charlie and Alec. Depends, Charlie says. Think it's genuine? Hard to tell with that family, Alec adds. Another text from Reese. I found Mum's phone. There's stuff on here, stuff about you, plans they made. It's really bad. I'll send screenshots if you want. I look at Alec. Still have your forensics kit handy? He grins, always. Tell her yes, Charlie says. The house of cards is falling. Let's make sure we catch every single piece. I type back a quick response to Reese, then turn to my unlikely allies. Ready for phase 2? They both nod, and I feel a surge of power. The Zimmermans thought they were playing chess. They didn't realise I'd already flipped the board. The screenshots from Reese start flooding in around midnight. Group chats, email threads, bank statements, all carefully documented evidence of the family's long con. I forward everything to Marcus as it arrives. Look at this one, I tell Alec, who's set up his laptop on my kitchen counter. Operation Island Exit. They were planning to empty my accounts while I was sleeping off jet lag. Classic misdirection, he mutters, typing furiously. Get you somewhere remote, limited internet, different time zone. Meanwhile, they'd have full access to everything back home. My phone buzzes. Soleil this time. I decline the call and open another screenshot from Reese. Oh my God, I breathe. Charlie, they were going to sell my condo. Charlie looks up from her position on my couch. They can't. Your name's on the deed. They forged transfer papers. I hold up my phone. Dated for next week. They were going to claim I signed everything before the vacation. Alex stops typing. That's not just fraud anymore, that's grand theft. Another video notification pops up. This time it's not from the family. Someone at the resort has posted a TikTok of the Zimmermans being escorted out of the property by security. The caption reads, "Rich family gets caught scamming. Watch till the end." It's going viral, Charlie announces, scrolling through her phone. 20,000 views already. My laptop pings with an email from Marcus. Meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m. Bring everything. Police want to be involved. I'm about to respond when my phone rings again. Unknown number. Hello? Mrs. Zimmerman? A tired voice asks. This is Thomas from Capital One Fraud Department. We're seeing some unusual activity on your joint accounts. Let me guess. Someone's trying to transfer large sums. Multiple attempts in the last hour. We've frozen everything pending investigation. I smile grimly. Perfect. I'll be at your branch first thing tomorrow with my lawyer. After I hang up, Charlie raises her wine glass. They must be losing their minds right now. As if on cue, my phone lights up with a text from Gavin. Coming home. This ends now. He bought a ticket? Alec asks, surprised. Probably used his emergency credit card, I say, the one Wendy pays for. Speaking of Wendy. Charlie turns up her phone's volume. Another video is making rounds. This one shows my mother-in-law trying to convince the island police that she's being held hostage by the resort. They're unravelling, Alec observes. Good. I open my laptop and pull up a document I've been working on, because I'm about to make it worse. What's that? Charlie peers over my shoulder. A very detailed post about financial abuse and family fraud. Once I hit submit, it'll go live on every major social media platform. Alec whistles. Nuclear option? They're about to learn what it feels like to be exposed. I start typing. Every loan, every scheme, every manipulation, all of it documented with dates and screenshots. Wait, Charlie interrupts. Add this. She hands me her phone, showing a new video. Ronnie's at some island bar, drunk, loudly bragging about how they've been living off the golden goose for years. I add the link just as another text comes through from Reese. Dad's at the airport. He's really mad, like I've never seen him this mad. Let him come, I mutter, finishing the post. I'm not the same woman he left at that airport. You sure about this? Alec asks as my cursor hovers over the post button. Once it's out there. They burned their bridges, I say firmly. Time to light up the ashes. Click posted. Within minutes the notifications start. Shares, comments, tags. The story spreads like wildfire through social media. Local news picks it up first, then national outlets start calling. Trending, Charlie announces. Number 3 and climbing. My phone buzzes with a text from Marcus. Saw the post. Perfect timing. Police are very interested now. See you at 9. Another notification. This time from my bank. All suspicious accounts have been frozen. Any attempts to access them will be logged and reported. Ali, Charlie says suddenly, your doorbell camera just pinged. Gavin's here. I look at the feed on my phone. He's standing in the lobby of my building, looking dishevelled and angry. The doorman's keeping him there just like I arranged. Let him stew, I say, turning back to my laptop. I've got a few more receipts to drop. You're enjoying this, Alec observes with a slight smile. 8 years, I remind him. 8 years of being their personal bank, their emotional punching bag, their grateful daughter-in-law. I hit post on another thread of evidence. Now they get to be grateful for prison jumpsuits and public defenders. My phone lights up again, Wendy calling. I silence it and pour more wine. To Karma, I say, raising my glass. To Karma, Charlie and Alec echo. Below, Gavin continues to rage in the lobby, but I can't hear him. Up here, in my fortress of truth and evidence, I'm finally free. And the night is still young. Gavin spends 2 days camped in the lobby before I finally agree to meet him. Not alone, of course. My lawyer Sarah sits beside me in the building's conference room while Alec waits outside. The security camera blinks steadily in the corner. You look terrible, I say as Gavin slumps into the chair across from me. His designer shirt is wrinkled, his usual perfectly styled hair a mess. You've destroyed my family, he snarls. No, your family destroyed themselves. I just stopped funding the destruction. He leans forward. Do you have any idea what you've done? Mum's had to cancel her country club membership. Soleil's kids might have to switch schools. Ronnie's investors are suing him for fraud, I interrupt. Yeah, I know. Turns out I wasn't the only one he scammed. It wasn't a scam. Gavin slams his hand on the table. Sarah clears her throat pointedly and he sits back. We're family. Family helps each other. Family? I pull out my phone and play a video. Wendy at last year's Thanksgiving, wine glass in hand. Remember this? At least you can contribute financially, dear, since you can't give us grandchildren. He shifts uncomfortably. Mum was drunk, she didn't mean... Or this one. I play another clip. You telling Ronnie I'd happily cover his investment seminar while I was at my father's funeral. Alison. Or maybe this. I slide a folder across the table. Loan applications, dozens of them, my signature forged by you. His face goes pale. How did you... Get proof? Turns out your cousin Alec isn't the pushover you thought he was. I lean forward. The police have copies, the FBI too, since some of these cross state lines. You're bluffing. Sarah speaks up for the first time. I assure you she's not. Mr. Zimmerman, you're facing serious federal charges. Your entire family is under investigation for fraud, conspiracy, and financial abuse. This is ridiculous. He stands up, pacing. Everything I did for us, for our future. Our future? I laugh bitterly. You were planning to drain my accounts and flee to the Caymans. That stops him cold. Who told you? Your daughter did. Reese isn't my... No, but she has a conscience, unlike you. I pull out another folder. She sent me everything, Gavin. The group chats, the plans, the bank transfers. Did you really think you could steal my entire life and get away with it? He sinks back into his chair, deflated. What do you want? A divorce. Clean, quick and quiet. You sign over any claim to my assets and I won't press additional charges. And if I refuse? Sarah slides another document across the table. Then we take this to court. Every detail becomes public record. Your mother's schemes, Soleil's fraud, Ronnie's pyramid schemes, all of it. You wouldn't. I pull up the viral TikTok of his family's island meltdown. Try me. His phone buzzes. Probably Wendy, who's been calling hourly since they got back. He ignores it. You know what the funny thing is? I say quietly. I would have helped if you'd just asked. Actually asked, not demanded or manipulated or stolen. I loved you, Gavin. I wanted to be part of your family. We needed more than you were willing to give, he mutters. No, you wanted more than you deserved. I stand up. Sign the papers, Gavin. It's over. He stares at the documents for a long moment. Mum will never forgive me. That's not my problem anymore. Slowly, he picks up the pen. Each signature feels like another chain breaking loose. When he finishes, Sarah quickly notarizes the papers. We're done here, she announces, gathering the documents. Gavin stands, looking suddenly old. What am I supposed to do now? Get a good lawyer, I suggest. You're going to need one. As if on cue, his phone buzzes again. This time it's a news alert. Someone's leaked documents about Ronnie's investment schemes. The comments are brutal. Your mother's retirement fund, I add. The one she's been bragging about for years. Check the balance. Ronnie's been dipping into it for months. You're lying. Call the bank. I head for the door. Oh, and Gavin, the condo you tried to sell out from under me, I'm keeping it. Consider it payment for 8 years of financial abuse. He doesn't respond, just stares at his phone as notification after notification rolls in. The empire he helped build on lies and theft is crumbling, and he's going down with it. Outside, Alec and Charlie are waiting. How'd it go? Charlie asks. He signed, I say, feeling lighter than I have in years. It's done. My phone pings with a message from Reese. Grandma just found out about her retirement fund. She's on her way to Uncle Ronnie's with a golf club. Not quite done, Alec observes with a smile. I laugh and link arms with my friends. No, but the show's getting good. Anyone want popcorn? The video of Wendy chasing Ronnie around his front yard with a golf club goes viral faster than the island disaster. Someone sets it to Money, Money, Money by ABBA, and suddenly it's everywhere. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, even the local news runs it. Look at the comments, Charlie says, scrolling through her phone. Rich people problems is trending. We're at my lawyer's office, watching the Zimmerman empire implode in real time. Sarah's just finished showing me the latest evidence Reese sent over. Screenshots from Soleil's tablet that she accidentally left behind at the resort. Your sister-in-law was busy, Sarah observes, spreading out printed emails. She had a whole spreadsheet of your accounts, passwords, everything. How did she get those? I ask, though I already suspect the answer. Gavin gave them to her. Sarah points to a message thread. They were planning to transfer everything while you were on the island. Operation Empty Nest, they called it. My phone rings, a number I don't recognise. Hello? Mrs. Zimmerman, this is Robert from First National Bank's fraud department. We've detected some unusual activity. Let me guess, someone trying to access my accounts? Yes, multiple attempts from various IP addresses. We've locked everything down. I thank him and hang up, just as another call comes in. This time it's Wendy. What do you want? I answer. Please, she sobs, all her usual superiority gone. Please take down that article. My investment partners are pulling out. The country club is reviewing my membership. Everyone's seen that horrible video. The one where you try to hit your son with a 5-iron. Yeah, it's pretty popular. This isn't funny. Our reputation? Your reputation, I cut in. You mean the one built on lies, fraud and stolen money? That reputation. We can work something out, she pleads. Whatever you want, just make this go away. Sarah slides a note across the desk. Police want to interview her. Actually, Wendy, there are some people who'd like to talk to you. Detective Morgan from the Financial Crimes Unit. He's very interested in those investment seminars you and Ronnie ran. Silence, then. You wouldn't dare. I already did. Check your mail. The subpoena should arrive today. She starts screaming, something about family loyalty and ungrateful daughters-in-law, but I hang up. My phone immediately lights up with a text from Reese. OMG, Grandma just fainted. Should we be concerned? Alec asks, reading over my shoulder. Nah, she pulls that trick whenever she's not getting her way. Watch, in about 5 minutes. Right on cue, Reese texts again. Never mind, she's fine. Started yelling as soon as Mom mentioned calling an ambulance. Sarah gathers up the documents. The DA wants to move forward with charges. Are you ready for that? More than ready. I pull up the photos I took of all the forged loan documents. They wanted to play with money? Let's show them how expensive their games can get. My phone buzzes with a news alert. Local investment guru under investigation for pyramid scheme. There's a picture of Ronnie being escorted from his office by police. 1 down, Charlie says with satisfaction. 3 to go, I add, just as another text comes in. This one's from Soleil. My sponsorship deals are cancelling. My influencer contracts. You've ruined everything. I forward her message to Sarah. Add harassment to the charges. Already done. Sarah pulls up another document. Also, you might want to see this. Someone leaked your story to a major financial blog. It's going national. I scan the article. Socialite Family's House of Cards, a story of fraud, fashion and failed schemes, complete with photos, documentation and interviews with other victims of Ronnie's investment scams. Who leaked it? I ask, though I have a suspicion. Alec raises his hand. Guilty. I may have sent some information to a journalist friend. The comments section is fire, Charlie announces. Rich people karma is now a hashtag. My phone lights up again. Gavin. I decline the call, but read his text. They're freezing my accounts, all of them. What am I supposed to do? Get a job, I text back, like normal people. This isn't over, he responds. Oh, but it is. I block his number and look up at my support team. Anyone else feeling like celebration dinner? Wait, Sarah says, holding up her phone. Breaking news. Local beauty queen caught in family fraud scandal. Looks like Soleil's past pageant funds are under investigation too. 2 down, Charlie grins. And the dominoes keep falling, Alec adds. I lean back in my chair, feeling a weight lift that I didn't even know I was carrying. They thought they could bury me in debt and lies. Instead, I'm watching their carefully constructed world crumble, one viral video at a time. So, I say, standing up, dinner? I'm thinking somewhere expensive. I can afford it now that I'm not bankrolling the Zimmerman family circus. The laughter feels good. The freedom feels even better. The courthouse steps are crowded with reporters when I arrive, 3 months after the island incident, and the Zimmerman scandal is still making headlines. Today's the day everything becomes official. Miss Cooper! A reporter shoves a microphone in my face. Any comment on the fraud charges against your ex-husband's family? She'll be making no statements, Sarah says firmly, guiding me through the crowd. Inside, the scene isn't much better. Wendy sits with her lawyer, her designer outfit replaced by something distinctly off the rack. Soleil's nowhere to be seen, probably still dealing with her own legal troubles after her pageant fraud came to light. Ronnie's already in custody, awaiting trial for his investment schemes. And Gavin? He's at the defendant's table, looking like he's aged a decade. All rise, the bailiff calls out. The judge wastes no time. In the matter of financial fraud and criminal conspiracy, how do the defendants plead? Guilty, Your Honour, Gavin's lawyer responds. They'd worked out a plea deal, cooperation in exchange for reduced charges. Wendy lets out a dramatic sob. My own son betraying us like this. Mrs. Zimmerman, the judge warns, control yourself or you'll be removed. I feel a hand squeeze mine, Charlie, sitting beside me. On my other side, Alec gives me an encouraging nod. The proceedings move quickly after that. Gavin's statement detailing years of systematic fraud. The evidence, hundreds of pages of forged documents, fake investment schemes, manipulated accounts. The judge's face grows sterner with each revelation. "The court has reviewed the evidence," she announces finally. "Mr. Zimmerman, while your cooperation is noted, the extent of these crimes is staggering. You are hereby sentenced to 5 years in federal prison with an additional 3 years of supervised release," Wendy wails. The judge ignores her. "Furthermore, you are ordered to pay restitution in the amount of $273,000 to Miss Cooper, plus additional damages to be determined." My phone buzzes quietly. A text from Reese. "Mum just got served papers too. Something about tax fraud?" I smile slightly. The dominoes are still falling. "Your Honour," Sarah stands. "My client would like to address the court." The judge nods. "Proceed." I walk to the podium, my heels clicking on the marble floor. Gavin won't meet my eyes. "For 8 years," I begin, "I believed in family. I believed in supporting each other, in sacrifice, in trust. The Zimmermans took that belief and twisted it into something ugly. They didn't just steal my money, they stole my faith in people." Wendy tries to interrupt, but her lawyer shushes her. "But here's what they didn't steal," I continue. "My strength, my dignity, my ability to stand up and say no more. To anyone watching this case, anyone trapped in a similar situation, you can say no, you can fight back, and you can win." The judge nods approvingly. As I return to my seat, I notice several reporters scribbling furiously. "Court is adjourned," the judge declares, banging her gavel. Outside, the media circus has grown. This time, I'm ready. "Miss Cooper, how does it feel to take down Chicago's infamous Zimmerman family?" I face the cameras. "It feels like justice, and it's not over yet." "What do you mean?" "Ask Soleil about her charity foundation," I say with a smile. "Ask Wendy about her investment partners. The truth has a way of coming out." My phone buzzes again. Another text from Reese. "Can we talk? Like, somewhere private?" I show the message to Charlie and Alec. "Could be a trap," Charlie warns. "Or could be a kid who needs help getting out," Alec counters. I text back, "Coffee shop on 5th, 1 hour." Sarah catches up to us as we leave. "The divorce papers came through. You're officially free." "Not just free," I correct her. "Vindicated." My phone lights up with a news alert. Beauty Queen's charity scam exposed. Soleil Zimmerman faces federal investigation. 3 down, Charlie counts. 1 to go, Alec adds, just as another alert pops up. Socialite Wendy Zimmerman's investment partners file class action lawsuit. "Make that 4, I say, feeling lighter than ever. We step into the bright Chicago afternoon, leaving behind the courthouse and its drama. Ahead of me lies coffee with Reese, dinner with my real friends, and a life unburdened by the Zimmermans' toxic expectations. "You know what's funny?" I tell Charlie and Alec as we walk. "They always said I wasn't really part of their family. Turns out that was the biggest gift they could have given me." My phone buzzes one last time. The final divorce decree, officially changing my name back to Cooper. "To new beginnings," Charlie raises an imaginary glass. "To karma," Alec adds. "To freedom," I finish, stepping into my future, leaving the Zimmermans and their house of cards behind in the dust where they belong. The sun feels different in Bali. Warmer, kinder somehow. I stretch out on my private villa's deck, sipping fresh coconut water and scrolling through my notifications. "Did you see this?" Charlie's text pops up with a link. "Wendy just got sentenced." I click through to the article. "Socialite matriarch gets 3 years for financial fraud." The courthouse photo shows her in handcuffs, no designer bags or signature pearls in sight. My phone rings. It's Reese. "Hey kiddo," I answer. "How's college treating you?" "Amazing. My roommate can't believe I chose community college over private school, but honestly, it feels good paying my own way." After our coffee shop meeting, Reese had made a brave choice. She testified against her mother, moved in with her dad, Soleil's first ex-husband, and started working part-time while finishing high school. "How's the blog going?" I ask. "Growing. People really connect with stories about breaking free from toxic family dynamics. Speaking of which," she pauses, "Mum's sentencing is next week, 20 months for charity fraud. Are you going?" "No, Dad says I don't owe them anything anymore. Neither do you, by the way." I smile. "I know." A notification pops up, an email from Marcus. "Final restitution payment received. Account closed." "They actually paid you back?" Reese asks when I tell her. "The court made them. Gavin's prison job, Wendy's liquidated assets, Ronnie's seized accounts, every penny." "Karma's wild," Reese laughs. "Hey, I gotta run to class. Love you, Aunt Allie." "Love you too, kid." After we hang up, I open Instagram. My travel photography account has blown up since I started exploring the world solo. Today's post, sunrise yoga on a Balinese beach. The caption reads, "Sometimes the best family is the one you choose." A message from Alec appears. "Beautiful shot. Save me a spot on that beach." We've been dancing around something more than friendship lately. He's been consulting in Singapore, just a short flight away. "Beach is pretty big," I write back. "Plenty of room." "Dinner when you're back in Chicago?" "It's a date." A news alert catches my eye. "Zimmerman family fraud, a cautionary tale." The article details everything: the island disaster, the court cases, the convictions. But the ending makes me smile. Former daughter-in-law Alison Cooper has become an unexpected advocate for financial abuse survivors, her story inspiring others to break free. My phone buzzes with a text from Charlie. "Speaking of advocacy, you're still good to speak at next month's conference, right? Breaking Free Financial Independence After Family Fraud needs its star presenter." "Wouldn't miss it," I reply. The sun starts to set over the ocean, painting the sky in colours no filter could enhance. I think about that day at the airport, watching the Zimmermans swagger through security, so certain of their power over me. They never imagined their house of cards would collapse so spectacularly. My assistant messages me, "Your TED Talk outline is ready for review. Topic, the hidden cost of family financial abuse. Shall I send it over?" "Tomorrow," I reply. "Tonight's for celebrating." "Anniversary of the island incident?" she asks. "Freedom," I correct her. I open my laptop to find an email from Sarah. Another interview request. National Magazine wants your story for their Women Who Fought Back series. Interested? Before I can reply, a final news alert appears. "Ronnie Zimmerman's prison interview. We lost everything because we got greedy." "At least he's honest now," I mutter. The villa's phone rings. Room service. "Ms. Cooper, your celebration dinner is ready. Shall we serve it on the beach as requested?" "Perfect," I answer. As I walk down to the private beach, I think about what Reese said about not owing them anything. She's right. The Zimmermans took so much from me, but in trying to break me, they accidentally set me free. My phone lights up one last time. A message from Alec. "Booked my ticket to Bali. See you in 2 days?" I smile and type back, "Can't wait." The beach dinner is set up beautifully. Candles, flowers, champagne. Not for show, not to impress anyone, just for me to enjoy. No family drama, no manipulation, no price tag of obligation attached. I raise my glass to the sunset, to freedom, to karma, to choice. The Zimmermans thought they were teaching me about family. Instead, they taught me about strength. They thought they were burying me in debt and obligation, never realizing they were planting the seeds of their own destruction. And me? I'm blooming. I take a sip of champagne and watch the stars emerge over the ocean. Tomorrow will bring new adventures, new challenges, new opportunities to help others break free. But tonight is mine, just mine, and that's everything.
I was staring at the bronze plaque when the email arrived that would destroy everything. The Bennett Foundation, honoring the legacy of community service. My parents' names gleamed beneath those words, polished to perfection like their public image. Ramona and Ishmael Bennett, philanthropic power couple, pillars of the community, heroes. What a joke. My name is Andrea, and I built this place from nothing. Every brick, every program, every scholarship, I funded it all. But you'd never know that from the wall of photos in our lobby, where my parents beam at cameras while cutting ribbons and shaking hands with mayors. I'm usually somewhere in the background if I'm there at all. Andrea, darling, you're brooding again. My mother's voice cut through my thoughts like a blade wrapped in silk. Jesus Christ. I stared at a casino marker for $40,000. How long has this been going on? Based on these dates? Years? But the foundation transfers only started 18 months ago. 18 months ago. Right after Jimmy had his last breakdown and disappeared for 3 weeks. Right after my parents had that mysterious family meeting that I wasn't invited to. I need to talk to my mother. Andrea, wait. Think about this. If you confront her now, she stole from the foundation, Kinley. She stole from kids like Violet. I know. But we need to be smart about this. Document everything first. Get legal advice. I was already grabbing my keys. I'll be back. The drive to my parents' house felt like a funeral march. Every red light gave me time to think about all the signs I'd missed, all the times Jimmy had shown up looking desperate, only to be mysteriously fine a few weeks later, all the times my parents had been vague about foundation finances, insisting they had everything under control. I found my mother in her home office, typing on her laptop. She looked up when I knocked on the doorframe. Andrea! What a lovely surprise. I was just working on my speech for Saturday. We need to talk. I closed the door behind me and sat down across from her desk. Of course, darling. What's on your mind? I pulled out the bank statements and spread them across her pristine desk. These are on my mind. The color drained from her face, but she didn't deny anything. She just stared at the papers like they were a cancer diagnosis. How long have you known? She asked quietly. Since tonight, Kinley found the discrepancies. I see. She closed her laptop and folded her hands. Then you know about Jimmy. I know you've been stealing from the foundation to pay his gambling debts. We weren't stealing. We were protecting our family. By taking money meant for scholarships. By saving your brother's life. Her voice cracked. Do you have any idea what those people were threatening to do to him? They were going to break his legs, Andrea, maybe worse. I felt like I was watching this conversation from outside my body. So you decided to steal from charity. We decided to handle a family crisis. We always planned to pay it back. With what money? She gestured vaguely. Your father's consulting fees, my speaking engagements. We've been building our brand, Andrea. The foundation has given us opportunities. The foundation I built with my money. Our foundation, our family name is on that building. Because I put it there, because I wanted to honor you and Dad. And we've honored that gift by making it something bigger than you ever could have alone. I stared at her, this woman who'd raised me, who'd taught me about charity and service and doing the right thing. You delayed scholarship payments. Violet almost dropped out of medical school. We handled it. You covered the payment. I shouldn't have had to. Family comes first, Andrea. It always has in this house. You can fix this. Just keep it quiet until after the gala. We'll figure out how to replace the money. Keep it quiet? Think about what this would do to the foundation's reputation. Think about what it would do to your reputation. You built this, yes, but we made it respectable. We made it matter. I gathered up the bank statements, my hands steady now. Where's Jimmy? He's getting help. Real help this time. Where is he? Andrea, please. Don't make this harder than it has to be. I stood up, tucking the papers under my arm. I need to think about this. You'll do the right thing, she called after me. You always do. I walked out of that house knowing that everything I'd believed about my family was a lie, but I also walked out with something else. Evidence. My parents' signatures on every transfer, their admissions, their complete lack of remorse. The drive back to Kinley's apartment gave me time to process what my mother had said. Keep it quiet. Family comes first. Do the right thing. For the first time in my life, I was going to do exactly what she asked. I was going to do the right thing. I found Jimmy at his usual spot when the world was falling apart, the dive bar on 5th Street where nobody asked questions and the bartender took cash only. He was hunched over a whiskey, looking like he hadn't slept in days. His designer jacket was wrinkled, his hair greasy. When he saw me approaching, he didn't even look surprised. "Let me guess," he said without looking up. "Mom called you." "Actually, the bank statements called me." I slid into the booth across from him. $378,000, Jimmy, from the foundation. He finally met my eyes. "I didn't ask them to do that." "But you knew they did it." "I knew they were handling things. I didn't know how." "Handling things? Is that what we're calling it?" I pulled out my phone and showed him a photo of one of the casino markers. $40,000 to the Riverside Casino in one night. I was on a streak. I would have won it back. You never win it back. You never have. Jimmy finished his drink and signaled for another. "You don't understand what it's like." "Then explain it to me." "The pressure, Andrea. Everyone expecting me to be something I'm not. Mom and Dad always talking about potential and opportunities and making something of myself. Do you know what it's like to disappoint people just by existing?" I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Are you seriously asking me that question? You're the golden child. You built the foundation. You're successful. I'm the invisible child. I've been cleaning up your messes since we were kids, and Mom and Dad act like I don't exist." "That's not true. Remember when you crashed Dad's car senior year? Who took the blame?" "You volunteered." "I was 16 and you were crying about losing your scholarship. Remember when you got arrested for possession? Who paid for the lawyer?" "Mom and Dad. With money I gave them from my summer job. I've been covering for you my entire life, and you've never once said thank you." Jimmy's new drink arrived. He stared into it like it held answers. "I'm sick, Andrea. This isn't something I chose." "I know you're sick, but stealing from charity? From kids who need that money?" "I didn't steal anything. I never touched the foundation accounts." "You let Mom and Dad steal for you. You knew where the money was coming from." "I was desperate. These weren't nice people, Andrea. They were going to hurt me." "So you let them hurt Violet instead? And Marcus? And Sarah? 3 kids who almost lost their scholarships because of you?" His face crumpled. "I didn't know about that." "You didn't want to know. Just like you never want to know where the money comes from when Mom and Dad bail you out. What do you want me to say? That I'm sorry? I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry I'm not perfect like you." "I don't want you to be perfect. I want you to take responsibility for once in your life." "Fine, I take responsibility. Now what? You want me to go to jail?" "I want you to help me fix this." Jimmy looked up sharply. "Fix it how?" "The gala is in 3 days. Mom and Dad are planning to accept some big community service award while sitting on stolen money. I can't let that happen." "You're not going to. Andrea, you can't expose this. It'll destroy the foundation." "The foundation is already destroyed." Ramona glided across the marble floor in her signature Chanel suit, the one that cost more than most people's rent. "The caterers need final numbers for Saturday's gala. Have you confirmed the guest list?" 237 confirmed, 18 maybes, I said, not looking up from my laptop. "The mayor's office called this morning. He's bringing his wife." "Wonderful. This will be our biggest event yet." She paused beside my desk, her perfume, something French and expensive, filling the air. "Your father and I are so proud of what we've built here." "What we've built." "Right." I bit my tongue and pulled up the seating chart. "I put you and Dad at the head table with the major donors. The Whitmore family specifically requested to sit near you." "Perfect." They've been stealing from it for over a year. But if this gets out, it's not just Mom and Dad who go down, it's you too. Your name is on everything. I know. So what's your plan? Burn it all down? I leaned forward. I'm going to give them a chance to come clean, at the gala, in front of everyone. They'll never do that. Then I'll do it for them. Jimmy grabbed my wrist across the table. Andrea, please, think about this. There has to be another way. Like what? Keep covering for you? Keep pretending everything's fine while kids lose their scholarships? We can pay it back. I'll get clean, get a job. With what money? You're broke. Mom and Dad are broke. The only money in this family is mine, and I'm not giving you another cent. So that's it? You're going to destroy our family? I'm not destroying anything. I'm just stopping the lie. Jimmy let go of my wrist and slumped back in his seat. Mom's going to kill me. Mom's going to have bigger problems than you. She loves me, Andrea. They both do. They were just trying to protect me. They love the idea of you, the potential of you. They've never loved who you actually are. And you do? I looked at my brother, really looked at him. The bloodshot eyes, the trembling hands, the way he couldn't meet my gaze for more than a few seconds. I love you enough to stop enabling you. That's not love. That's revenge. Maybe it's both. I stood up and dropped a 20 on the table. The gala's Saturday night. If you want to come clean before then, you know where to find me? Andrea, wait. I turned back. What if I disappear? Just leave town? Start over somewhere else? Then you'll be a coward and a thief instead of just a thief. And if I stay? Then maybe, for the first time in your life, you'll face the consequences of your choices. I walked out of that bar knowing I'd probably just lost my brother forever. But I also walked out knowing that some things were more important than family loyalty, like the truth. The next morning, Kinley and I spread everything across the conference table in my office. Bank statements, transfer authorizations, Jimmy's debt records. It looked like a crime scene made of paperwork. It's worse than we thought, Kinley said, sliding a new folder toward me. I found more transfers. They've been taking money for almost 2 years, not 18 months. I opened the folder and felt my stomach drop. 500,000? Jesus! And look at this. She pointed to a highlighted section. They took 50,000 the same week Violet's scholarship was supposed to be dispersed. She wasn't the only one affected. How many students? 12 over the past year. All delayed payments, all covered by emergency funding that came out of your personal accounts. I've been unknowingly covering their theft with my own money. Essentially, yes. I stared at the numbers until they blurred. We need to test something. What do you mean? I want to see how deep this goes. Who else knows? An hour later, Carson walked into my office looking concerned. My ex-boyfriend had joined the Foundation's board 6 months ago, and despite our complicated history, he'd been nothing but professional. You sounded urgent on the phone, he said, settling into the chair across from my desk. What's going on? We've discovered some irregularities in the Foundation's accounts. I handed him a simplified version of what Kinley had found. I wanted to get your perspective as a board member. Carson's face went pale as he read. These are significant transfers. Who authorized them? That's what we're trying to figure out. Andrea, this is... He looked up at me. This is embezzlement. We need to call the police. I know what it is. Then why aren't you more upset? Why are you so calm? Kinley and I exchanged glances. Carson's reaction told us everything we needed to know. He had no idea what my parents had been doing. I'm not calm, I said. I'm trying to figure out how to handle this without destroying the Foundation. The Foundation might already be destroyed if this gets out. Carson ran his hands through his hair. The donors will flee. The reputation we've built will be gone overnight. So what do you suggest? We need to involve law enforcement immediately, and we need to figure out who did this. What if I told you I already know who did it? Carson's eyes widened. Who? I couldn't say it. Not yet. I need more time to investigate. Andrea, we don't have time. The gala is in 2 days. If this comes out during the event, it won't. How can you be sure? Because I'm going to handle it. Carson stood up abruptly. Handle it how? Andrea, you can't cover this up. $500,000 doesn't just disappear. I'm not covering anything up. Then what are you doing? Before I could answer, my phone rang. Unknown number. Andrea, this is Samara Butler from the Herald. I'm working on a story about charitable organizations and their financial transparency. I was hoping we could chat about the Bennett Foundation. My blood turned to ice. I'm sorry, what kind of story? Oh, just a general piece about how local charities manage their funds. Nothing specific. Could we meet for coffee this afternoon? I'm pretty busy this week with our gala. Right, the gala. I'll be covering that event, actually. Big community celebration, from what I understand. Your parents are receiving some kind of award? Carson was watching me, his expression growing more alarmed by the second. I'll have to call you back, I said, hanging up. Who was that? Carson asked. A journalist, asking about the foundation's finances. Oh, God, Andrea, this is spiraling. We need to get ahead of this. I know. Do you? Because it seems like you're in denial about how serious this is. Kinley cleared her throat. Carson, maybe you should sit down. Why? What aren't you telling me? I looked at my ex-boyfriend, this man who'd once known me better than anyone, and realized I was about to lose another person I cared about. The transfers were authorized by my parents. Carson stared at me. What? My mother and father have been stealing from the foundation to pay off Jimmy's gambling debts. He sat down heavily. That's impossible. Ramona and Ishmael are pillars of the community. They would never. I have their signatures on every transfer authorization. There has to be an explanation. Maybe someone forged. Carson, I confronted my mother last night. She admitted it. The silence stretched between us like a chasm. Carson's face went through several emotions: disbelief, horror, anger, and finally something that looked like pity. What are you going to do? He asked quietly. I'm going to stop them. How? At the gala, in front of everyone. Carson jumped up again. Andrea, no, you can't do that. Think about what you're saying. I've thought about nothing else. This will destroy your family. My family destroyed itself. And the foundation, all the good work you've done, the scholarships, the programs, it'll all be gone. Maybe, but at least it'll be honest. Carson moved around the desk and knelt beside my chair. Andrea, I know you're hurt. I know you feel betrayed, but this isn't the way. What is the way, Carson? Keep covering for them? And where did you place yourself? Table 12, back corner, near the kitchen. Ramona frowned. Andrea, you're being dramatic. You know how important it is that your father and I connect with our supporters. Our supporters. The people writing checks to the foundation I created with my own money. The foundation that existed because I'd spent the last 8 years pouring my inheritance, my salary from the tech company I'd sold, and every spare dollar into making it real. Of course, Mom. I understand. She smiled, that practiced politician's smile that never quite reached her eyes. I knew you would. You've always been so sensible about these things. Not like... She caught herself, but I knew what she was going to say. Not like Jimmy, my brother, the golden child. Keep pretending everything's fine while they steal from kids who need that money? We can handle this quietly. Force them to resign. Pay back the money. With what money? They're broke. Jimmy's broke. The only money in this family is mine. Then we'll figure something else out. I stood up, forcing him to step back. There was nothing else to figure out. They made their choice. Now I'm making mine. Carson looked at me like he was seeing a stranger. This isn't you, Andrea. You're not vindictive. Maybe I should be. Don't burn down your whole life for revenge. I'm not burning down my life. I'm finally taking control of it. He gathered his things and headed for the door. I can't be part of this. I'm not asking you to be. He paused at the doorway. The Andrea I knew wouldn't do this. The Andrea you knew was a doormat. Maybe it's time you met the real me. After he left, Kinley and I sat in silence for a long moment. You sure about this? She asked. No, but I'm doing it anyway. My phone buzzed with a text from Samara Butler. Looking forward to our conversation. I think you'll find my questions very interesting. The walls were closing in. Saturday couldn't come fast enough. The family meeting was my father's idea. He called Thursday evening, his voice strained in a way I'd never heard before. We need to talk, all of us, tonight. I arrived at their house to find Jimmy's car in the driveway. He'd actually shown up. That was something, at least. They were waiting in the living room, my parents on the couch, Jimmy in the armchair by the window, the same seats we'd occupied for every family crisis over the years, except this time I was the one causing the crisis. Sit down, sweetheart, my mother said, patting the cushion beside her. I stayed standing. I'm fine here. Andrea, my father began, your mother told me about your conversation the other night. We need to clear the air. Clear the air? Is that what we're calling it? We need to discuss how to move forward, he continued. As a family. You mean how to cover this up? Jimmy shifted in his chair. Andrea, please, just listen to what they have to say. I've been listening my whole life. Now it's time for you all to listen to me. My mother's composure cracked slightly. We know you're upset. Upset? I'm not upset about a bad grade or a canceled vacation. You stole $500,000 from charity. We borrowed it, my father said quietly. We always intended to pay it back. With what money, Dad? Your consulting business that barely breaks even? Mom's speaking fees that go straight to your personal expenses? We've been building our platform, my mother said. The foundation has opened doors. The foundation I built with my money, while you two played dress up and took credit. That's not fair, Jimmy said. They've worked hard. Shut up, Jimmy. You don't get to talk about hard work. Andrea, my mother snapped, don't speak to your brother that way. Why not? He's a 30-year-old man who's never held a job for more than 6 months. He's gambled away every opportunity you've given him, and now he's gambled away money meant for kids who actually deserve it. Jimmy's face flushed red. I have a disease, Andrea. I can't help. You can help not going to casinos. You can help not betting on sports. You can help getting actual treatment instead of whatever spa retreat Mom and Dad send you to every time you screw up. That's enough, my father said, his voice sharp. We're here to solve a problem, not assign blame. The problem is solved. I'm exposing everything at the gala. The room went dead silent. My mother's face went white. You can't be serious, she whispered. I'm completely serious. Andrea, think about what you're saying, my father said. Think about the consequences. I have thought about them. Have you? This will destroy us, my mother said. Our reputation, our standing in the community. Your reputation was built on lies. It will destroy the foundation too, Jimmy added. All those kids you claim to care about, they'll lose their scholarships. Some of them already have, because of you. My mother stood up abruptly. I won't let you do this. You can't stop me. I can. I'm still on the board. I can have you removed from your position. I laughed. Go ahead. Try it. I own the foundation, Mom. I funded it. I built it. And I can tear it down just as easily. You wouldn't. Watch me. My father cleared his throat. What would it take for you to reconsider? Nothing. There's nothing you can offer me. What if we paid back the money? Jimmy asked desperately. All of it. I'll get a job. I'll go to real rehab. You've made those promises before. This time is different. It's never different with you. My mother sat back down, her hands shaking. Andrea, please, I'm begging you. Don't do this to our family. I'm not doing anything to our family. You already did it. We made mistakes, my father said. We can fix them. The only mistake was trusting you. I pulled out my phone and hit record. Actually, since we're all here, why don't you tell me exactly what happened, for the record? Put that away, my mother said sharply. Why? Afraid of the truth? Andrea, stop this, Jimmy said. You're being cruel. I'm being honest, something this family has never tried. We've always been honest with you, my father said. Really? Were you being honest when you told people the foundation was your idea? Were you being honest when you accepted awards for my work? Were you being honest when you took money from scholarship funds to pay off Jimmy's debts? We were protecting our family, my mother said, her voice breaking. Everything we did was to protect this family. You were protecting Jimmy. You've always protected Jimmy, even when it meant sacrificing everything else. That's not true, she said, but her voice lacked conviction. It is true, and now you're asking me to sacrifice my integrity to protect him again. He's your brother, my father said, and those scholarship recipients are someone's children. They matter too. Of course they matter, my mother said, but family comes first. Not anymore. I stopped recording and put my phone away. I'm going to the gala Saturday night. I'm going to tell everyone exactly what you've done. You can either be there to face the consequences, or you can run away like cowards. Your choice. Andrea, wait, Jimmy called as I headed for the door. I turned back. What? I'm sorry. I'm really truly sorry. I know you are. You're always sorry. But sorry doesn't give those kids their scholarships back. What can I do to make this right? Nothing. It's too late. It's never too late, my father said. We're still a family. No, we're not. We stopped being a family the moment you decided Jimmy was more important than doing the right thing. I walked out of that house knowing I'd never be welcome there again. But I also walked out with something I'd never had before, a recording of them admitting everything. Saturday was going to be very interesting. Saturday morning arrived like a death sentence. I stood in my apartment staring at the black dress hanging in my closet, the one I'd bought for tonight's gala. It looked like funeral attire now, which was fitting because I was about to bury my family. My phone had been buzzing all morning. Texts from vendors, last-minute RSVPs, and 3 missed calls from Samara Butler, the one who could do no wrong, even when he was doing everything wrong. Speaking of Jimmy, is he coming Saturday? I asked. He'll be there. He's been having a rough patch, but he promised he wouldn't miss it. Her voice softened the way it always did when she talked about him. You know how sensitive he is. All that creativity, it's a blessing and a curse. Sensitive. That's what we called it when Jimmy disappeared for weeks on gambling binges. Creative. That's what we called it when he blew through another trust fund installment on God knows what. A rough patch. That's what we called it when he showed up at family dinners high out of his mind, eyes glassy and hands shaking. But I was the sensible one, the responsible one, the one who cleaned up messes and asked no questions. I'd been avoiding the journalist, but I had a feeling that was about to change. Kinley arrived at noon with coffee and a grim expression. The presentation is ready, she said, handing me a flash drive. Financial records, bank transfers, everything. Are you sure you want to do this? I'm sure. Because once you plug this into the projector tonight, there's no going back. I know. She studied my face. You look like you haven't slept. I haven't. Second thoughts? Third and fourth thoughts, but I'm still doing it. My phone rang. Carson's name flashed on the screen. Don't answer it, Kinley said. I answered anyway. Hello, Carson. Andrea, I'm at the venue. Where are you? Getting ready. We need to talk now. We talked yesterday. You made your position clear. My position is that I care about you. Please, just meet me at the hotel. Give me 5 minutes. I looked at Kinley, who was shaking her head. Fine, 5 minutes. The hotel ballroom was a flurry of activity. Caterers arranged tables, florists positioned centerpieces, and tech crew tested the sound system. It looked perfect, like every other foundation gala I'd organized, except tonight it was going to be a massacre. Carson was waiting by the stage, looking haggard. "Thank you for coming. You have 5 minutes. I talked to your parents this morning. And? They're not coming tonight." I felt a strange mix of disappointment and relief. They're running away? They're giving you space to reconsider. How thoughtful. "Andrea, they're willing to resign from the board. Quietly. They'll pay back the money." "With what money? We've been through this." "They'll figure it out. Sell the house, liquidate assets." "And Jimmy?" Carson hesitated. "He's already gone. Left town this morning." "Of course he did. This could all be handled privately. No one has to know." "I'll know. And so will you. And so will Kinley. And so will every kid who lost their scholarship because of them. But the foundation could survive. You could rebuild." "On what foundation? More lies?" Carson grabbed my hands. "I'm begging you, don't do this." "Why do you care so much? We're not together anymore." "Because I love you. I've always loved you. And I can't watch you destroy yourself for revenge." "This isn't revenge. It's justice." "It's both, and you know it." I pulled my hands away. "Your 5 minutes are up." "Andrea, I need to get ready." I left him standing there and went to the hotel room I'd reserved for the evening. The dress fit perfectly. The makeup covered the dark circles under my eyes. I looked like someone attending a funeral, which was exactly right. At 6 o'clock, guests started arriving. I watched from the window as cars pulled up to the valet stand. The mayor's limousine, the city council members, major donors in their designer gowns and expensive suits, all here to celebrate the Bennett Foundation's good work. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "This is Samara Butler. I'm here covering the gala. We should talk." I texted back, "Find me after the speeches." Another text, this one from my mother. "Please don't do this. We can fix everything. I love you." I deleted it without responding. At 7:30, I made my way to the ballroom. The place was packed, over 200 people mingling, drinking wine, admiring the silent auction items. I spotted Violet near the scholarship recipients table, looking beautiful in a borrowed dress. She waved when she saw me. "Andrea, this is amazing. Thank you so much for everything." "Thank you for being here. I wouldn't miss it. This foundation changed my life." I smiled, but it felt like my face was cracking. "I'm glad." Kinley appeared at my elbow. "It's time." The program was starting. I watched from the side of the stage as the master of ceremonies welcomed everyone and introduced the first speaker. My parents were supposed to be here by now, accepting their community service award. Instead, there was an empty table where they should have been sitting. "Ladies and gentlemen," the MC announced, "we have a slight change to tonight's program. Instead of Ramona and Ishmael Bennett accepting their award, we'll be hearing from the foundation's founder and director, Andrea Bennett." Polite applause filled the room. I walked to the podium, the flash drive burning in my pocket like a weapon. "Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight to celebrate the Bennett Foundation's work." I looked out at the crowd. Familiar faces, expectant smiles, people who trusted me. People who were about to have their evening and their faith in charity shattered. Before we continue with tonight's program, I have something important to share with you about the Foundation's recent financial activities. The room fell silent. I could see Samara Butler in the back, her phone already recording. As many of you know, transparency and accountability are core values of the Bennett Foundation, which is why I need to tell you about some irregularities we've discovered in our accounts. I pulled out the flash drive and held it up. What you're about to see may be disturbing, but it's the truth. And the truth, no matter how painful, is what you deserve. I walked to the laptop connected to the projector and inserted the drive. The first slide appeared on the screen behind me. Financial irregularities, Bennett Foundation, 2022-2024. The room was dead silent now. I could hear my own heartbeat. Over the past 2 years, approximately $500,000 has been transferred from foundation accounts without proper board approval. Gasps rippled through the crowd. I clicked to the next slide, showing the bank transfer records. These transfers were authorized by 2 signatures, Ramona Bennett and Ishmael Bennett, my parents. The silence shattered. Voices erupted throughout the room. I saw Carson in the front row, his head in his hands. Violet was staring at me with wide, confused eyes. The money was used to pay gambling debts incurred by my brother, Jimmy Bennett. As a result, scholarship payments were delayed and students nearly lost their educational opportunities. More slides, more evidence, more gasps and angry voices. I discovered this theft 3 days ago. I confronted my parents, and they admitted everything. They asked me to keep it quiet, to protect the family name. I clicked to the final slide, a photo of Violet at her medical school graduation ceremony. But some things are more important than family loyalty, like the young woman in this photo who almost lost her chance at medical school because money meant for her scholarship was stolen to pay off gambling debts. I looked directly at Violet, who was crying now. I'm sorry this happened. I'm sorry you had to find out this way, but I'm not sorry for telling the truth. The room exploded into chaos. People were shouting, standing up, heading for the exits. I saw security guards moving toward the stage. The foundation's accounts have been frozen pending investigation, I continued, raising my voice over the noise. All current scholarship recipients will be personally guaranteed by me. The Bennett Foundation, as you know it, is over, but the work will continue. I'm sure he'll be fine, I said. He will be. We've made sure of that. Something in her tone made me look up, but she was already walking away. Don't work too late, darling. You need your beauty sleep before the big night. I watched her leave, her heels clicking against the marble like a countdown timer. Then I turned back to my computer, scrolling through vendor invoices and catering contracts. Everything had to be perfect for Saturday. The Bennett Foundation's annual gala was our biggest fundraiser, the night when we announced new scholarships and celebrated another year of changing lives. I thought about Violet, the young woman whose scholarship had gotten her into medical school. She'd be there Saturday, probably nervous in whatever dress she'd borrowed for the occasion. Honestly, this time, I stepped away from the podium as the room descended into complete pandemonium. Samara Butler was pushing through the crowd toward me, her recorder held high. Andrea Bennett, can you comment on? Security reached me first, escorting me off the stage as the crowd surged forward. I caught a glimpse of Violet being comforted by other students, of Carson trying to restore order, of donors fleeing toward the exits. I'd done it. I'd burned it all down, and I felt absolutely nothing. The hotel security guards escorted me to a small conference room off the main ballroom. Through the thin walls, I could hear the chaos continuing. Raised voices, slamming doors, the clatter of people fleeing the scene. Ma'am, you need to stay here until the police arrive, one guard said. Police? Several guests have requested we call them, something about fraud allegations. I sat down at the conference table and waited. My phone was buzzing nonstop. Calls, texts, notifications. I turned it face down and stared at the bland hotel artwork on the walls. 20 minutes later, Samara Butler walked in with the hotel manager. Ms. Bennett, I'm Samara Butler from the Herald. Could we talk? The manager looked uncomfortable. She said she was expected. It's fine, I said. Let her in. Samara sat across from me, pulling out a digital recorder. That was quite a presentation. I'm sure it was. Can you walk me through what led to tonight's revelations? My compliance officer discovered irregularities in our accounts. We investigated. We found evidence of embezzlement. I decided to make it public. Why not handle it through proper legal channels? because my parents would have found a way to cover it up. They always do. This seems very personal. It is personal. They stole from kids who needed that money. But it's also about your family dynamics, isn't it? Your brother's addiction, your parents' favoritism. I looked at her sharp, intelligent face. You've done your homework. I've been investigating the Bennett Foundation for weeks. Anonymous tips about financial irregularities. Complaints from former employees about preferential treatment. Your family's pattern of enabling your brother's behavior. Anonymous tips? Someone's been feeding me information. Bank records, internal emails, documentation of your brother's debts. Who? I can't reveal sources. But someone wanted this story to come out. The door opened and 2 police officers entered, followed by Kinley. Andrea Bennett? The first officer asked. Yes. We need to ask you some questions about allegations of financial misconduct. Samara stood up. I'll wait outside. Actually, I said, she can stay. I want this on the record. The officers exchanged glances. Ma'am, you might want to contact a lawyer. I don't need a lawyer. I'm the one who exposed the theft. But you're also the foundation's director. You had oversight responsibility. I had oversight responsibility for a foundation my parents were secretly looting. The moment I discovered it, I made it public. Why didn't you report it to authorities first? Because I wanted everyone to know. The donors, the community, the people who trusted them. They deserved to hear it directly. The second officer was taking notes. Where are your parents now? I don't know. They didn't come tonight. And your brother? He left town this morning. Do you know where he went? No, and I don't care. Kinley cleared her throat. Officers, I'm the Foundation's compliance officer. I have all the documentation you'll need. Bank records, transfer authorizations, everything. We'll need to interview you as well, ma'am. Of course. The first officer looked back at me. Ms. Bennett, we're going to need you to come to the station for a formal statement. Am I under arrest? Not at this time, but there will be a full investigation. Good. I want a full investigation. After the police left, Samara sat back down. Are you ready to finish this story? What else do you want to know? How does it feel, destroying your family's reputation? It feels like justice. And the foundation, all the good work that's now in jeopardy? The foundation was already in jeopardy. At least now it's honest. What about the scholarship recipients, Violet and the others? They'll be taken care of. I'll make sure of it. With what money? Your personal funds? If necessary. That's a lot of money. It's my money. I can do what I want with it. Samara leaned forward. Can I ask you something off the record? Sure. Do you regret it? Any of it? I thought about that. I regret that it was necessary. I regret that my parents put me in this position. I regret that Jimmy's addiction hurt so many people. But do I regret exposing the truth? No. Even if it destroys your family? My family destroyed itself. I just stopped pretending otherwise. What happens now? Now the investigation happens. The truth comes out. People face consequences. Including you? Including me. The door opened again. Carson walked in, looking exhausted. The police said I could see you. Samara gathered her things. I'll be in touch, Andrea. Thank you for your honesty. After she left, Carson sat down heavily. Jesus, Andrea, what have you done? What I had to do. The ballroom is empty. Everyone's gone. The hotel is threatening to sue for the disruption. Let them sue. The board is meeting tomorrow morning. Emergency session. They're talking about removing you. Good luck with that. Andrea, this isn't over. This is just the beginning. There will be investigations, lawsuits, criminal charges. I know. Your parents' reputations are destroyed. Your brother is probably never coming back, so the foundation might not survive this. I know. And you're okay with all of that? I'm okay with the truth finally being told. Carson stared at me. I don't recognize you anymore. Good. The old Andrea was a doormat. She let people walk all over her for the sake of family peace. She covered up lies and enabled bad behavior. She's gone. And who are you now? I'm someone who doesn't let family loyalty override basic decency. I'm someone who protects the people who can't protect themselves. I'm someone who tells the truth, even when it hurts. Even when it destroys everything you've built. I didn't build anything on lies. I built something real, and they corrupted it. Tonight, I took it back. Carson stood up. I hope it was worth it. It was. I hope you can live with the consequences. I can. Can you? He looked at me for a long moment, then walked out without another word. I sat alone in that conference room, listening to the sounds of the hotel staff cleaning up the disaster in the ballroom. My phone was still buzzing with calls and messages, but I didn't look at it. For the first time in my life, I'd chosen truth over family loyalty. I'd chosen justice over peace. I'd chosen the people who mattered over the people who'd failed me. It felt like freedom, and it felt like the loneliest victory in the world. The fallout was swift and brutal. By Monday morning, my parents' photos were on the front page of every local newspaper. She'd grown up in foster care, worked 3 jobs to pay for community college, and now she was going to be a doctor. Because of this foundation, because of me. That's what made it all worth it. The long hours, the thankless work, watching my parents take credit for everything I'd built, knowing that kids like Violet had a chance. My phone buzzed, an email from Kinley, our compliance officer and my best friend since college. The subject line made my blood run cold. Urgent. Irregularities in foundation accounts. I clicked it open, my hands suddenly unsteady. Andrea, we need to talk. Tonight. There are discrepancies in the books that I can't explain. Large transfers. I think someone's been moving money. Charity scandal rocks elite family, screamed the Herald's headline, with Samara's byline underneath. The story had everything: embezzlement, addiction, family betrayal, and a dramatic public exposure. I was in my apartment, ignoring the reporters camped outside my building, when Kinley called. The FBI wants to meet with us this afternoon, she said. Financial Crimes Division. Good. Andrea, they're treating this as a federal case now. Wire fraud, money laundering. Your parents could go to prison. I know. Are you okay with that? I'm okay with justice. The FBI interview lasted 3 hours. Agent Martinez was thorough, professional, and seemed genuinely impressed by the documentation Kinley and I had prepared. This is the most organized financial fraud case I've seen, she said, reviewing our files. You've essentially done our job for us. We wanted to make sure nothing was missed. Your parents' attorney contacted us this morning. They're willing to cooperate fully. What about Jimmy? Still missing, but we'll find him. That evening I was surprised by a knock at my door. Through the peephole, I saw Violet standing in the hallway, looking nervous. I hope it's okay that I came, she said when I opened the door. I got your address from the foundation files. Of course, come in. She sat on my couch, fidgeting with her purse. I wanted to thank you. Thank me? For what? For telling the truth, for protecting us. I should have caught it sooner. You couldn't have known, and when you found out, you did the right thing, even though it cost you everything. It didn't cost me everything. It cost you your family. I sat across from her. My family cost me my family. I just stopped pretending otherwise. Still, it must be hard. It is, but not as hard as living with lies. Violet reached into her purse and pulled out an envelope. This is from the other scholarship recipients. We wrote you a letter. I opened it and read the first few lines. Dear Andrea, we know you're going through a difficult time, but we wanted you to know how much your courage means to us. You didn't have to do this. Yes, we did. You saved our futures. The least we can do is support you now. What about your scholarships? The foundation accounts are frozen. We know, but we also know you'll figure it out. You always do. The next morning brought another surprise visitor. My father stood outside my apartment building looking older than I'd ever seen him. The reporters are gone, he said when I let him in. For now. What do you want, Dad? To apologize, to explain. There's nothing to explain. You stole money, you got caught. End of story. It's not that simple. It's exactly that simple. He sat down heavily. Your mother's in the hospital. Stress-induced heart palpitations. The doctor says she'll be fine, but what? She's asking for you. I'm not coming. Andrea, she's your mother. My mother wouldn't have stolen from charity. She was trying to save Jimmy's life. She was enabling his addiction. There's a difference. He's still your brother. Where is he? We don't know. He calls sometimes, but he won't say where he is. Good. Maybe he'll finally face some consequences. My father looked at me with something like fear. What happened to you? You used to be so forgiving. I used to be a doormat. I got tired of it. This isn't forgiveness, Andrea. This is revenge. Maybe, but it's also justice. Justice for who? For every kid whose scholarship was delayed because of you. For every donor who trusted you with their money. For every person who believed in the Foundation's mission. And for yourself. And for myself. He stood up slowly. I hope you can live with what you've done. I can live with telling the truth. Can you live with what you did? He didn't answer. He just walked out, leaving me alone again. That afternoon, Samara called with news. Jimmy turned himself in. He's in Las Vegas, working with federal prosecutors. Is he cooperating? Completely. He's giving them everything. Names, dates, amounts. He wants to make a deal. Of course he does. There's something else. He wants to see you. No. He says he has information about other people who knew about the embezzlement. Board members, maybe donors. Then he can tell the FBI. Andrea, this could help your case. Show that you weren't complicit. I don't need his help. Maybe not, but those other scholarship recipients might. I thought about Violet, about her letter, about all the kids whose futures hung in the balance. Fine, but I'm not going to Vegas. If he wants to talk, he can do it over video call. The call happened that evening. Jimmy looked terrible, thin, exhausted, older than his 29 years. Thank you for agreeing to this, he said. I'm not doing it for you. I know, you're doing it for them, the scholarship kids. What do you know about other people being involved? Carson knew, not everything, but he knew something was wrong. He asked Mom about irregular transfers months ago. Carson. He didn't report it because he was trying to protect you. He thought you were involved. I felt something twist in my chest. What else? 3 board members knew about the emergency fund. They didn't ask questions because they trusted Mom and Dad. Names? He gave me the names. People I'd worked with, people I'd trusted. Jimmy, why are you telling me this? Because I'm tired of running. I'm tired of lying. I'm tired of hurting people. You should have gotten tired of it before you cost kids their scholarships. I know. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't fix anything. No, but maybe this will. I'm testifying against everyone who knew. Mom, Dad, the board members, everyone. Even yourself? Especially myself. We stared at each other through the screen. My brother, the golden child, finally taking responsibility. What happens now? I asked. Now I go to prison. Mom and Dad probably go to prison. The foundation gets investigated, restructured, maybe survives. And me? You get to rebuild, clean slate, no more lies. No more family either. We stopped being a family a long time ago, Andrea. We just kept pretending. The call ended, and I sat in my apartment as the sun set over the city. My phone buzzed with a text from Kinley. New foundation paperwork is ready. Clean board, transparent finances, your name only. When do you want to start over? I looked out at the lights beginning to twinkle in the darkness. Somewhere out there, Violet was studying for her medical boards. Other kids were working toward their dreams, trusting that someone would help them get there. I typed back, tomorrow. The truth, finally named, has a way of echoing long after the applause fades. But sometimes, in that echo, you can hear the sound of something new beginning, something honest, something real, something worth building. A lot of money. The bronze plaque on the wall seemed to mock me as I stared at Kinley's words, my parents' names gleaming like a lie. I grabbed my keys and headed for the door. Whatever this was, I had a feeling Saturday's gala was about to become very different from what anyone expected. Kinley's apartment smelled like coffee and panic. She had spreadsheets covering every surface of her dining table, highlighter marks bleeding across columns of numbers that made my stomach drop. How much? I asked, sliding into the chair across from her. $378,000. Gone, over the past 18 months. She pushed a stack of bank statements toward me. Look at these transfers. They're all authorized with board signatures. I picked up the papers, scanning the dates and amounts. My hand started shaking when I saw the signatures at the bottom of each transfer authorization. Ramona Bennett, Ishmael Bennett. These are my parents' signatures, I whispered. I know. Kinley's voice was gentle but firm. Andrea, I've been going through everything. The money went to something called Bennett Family Trust Emergency Fund. I can't find any record of board approval for these transfers. Emergency fund? I flipped through more papers. What kind of emergency? That's what we need to find out. But Andrea... She hesitated. Some of these transfers happened right before scholarship disbursements. We had to delay payments to 3 students last semester because of cash flow issues. Remember? I remembered. Violet had called me, panicked, because her tuition payment was late. I'd personally covered it and told her it was a processing error. 2 other students had nearly dropped out. Show me everything. For the next 2 hours, Kinley walked me through a paper trail that made me sick. Money disappearing in chunks of $20, $30, $50,000, always with my parents' signatures, always labeled as emergency family expenses. There's more, Kinley said, pulling out another folder. I found these in your mother's office filing cabinet. Credit card statements, gambling debts, loan documents, all in Jimmy's name.
The doctor's words hit me like a freight train. 6 months, maybe less without a transplant. My name is Violet, and 3 weeks ago I was designing logos for tech startups and complaining about my dating life. Now I'm staring at liver function tests that look like a toddler's crayon scribbles, except these scribbles mean I'm dying. The good news, Dr. Martinez continued, adjusting his glasses, is that you're young and otherwise healthy. Family donors are often the best match. Have you discussed this with your relatives? I nodded, though my stomach was already twisting. I'll talk to them tonight. That conversation went about as well as you'd expect. Callie, I need to ask you something important, I said, cornering my sister in Mum's kitchen. These things can take time to process. She pulled out her phone. I'm going to call the insurance company and get the paperwork started, just in case. Mum, I'm not dead yet. Of course not, but it's better to be prepared. You don't want red tape holding things up when the time comes. She stepped into the hallway to make her call, and I could hear her talking in hushed tones. Something about expediting the process and terminal diagnosis documentation. My phone buzzed, a text from Ivy. How are you feeling today? Want me to come over? I typed back, yes, please, bring wine and maybe a lawyer. On my way. 20 minutes later, Ivy burst through my door with a bottle of wine and a bag of takeout. Your mum's car is outside, she said, setting everything on the counter. How's that going? She's organising my death like it's a wedding. Jesus, Vi! Ivy pulled me into a hug. I'm so sorry. Have you heard anything about the transplant list? Not yet. But listen, something weird is happening. I lowered my voice. Last night, I heard Mom and Callie talking about my life insurance, and today, Mum's calling the insurance company to get paperwork started. Ivy's face darkened. That's concerning, right? And Callie flat out refused to get tested as a donor, didn't even consider it. Maybe she's just scared. Or maybe she's hoping I don't find one. Mum walked back in, all smiles. Oh, hello, Ivy. How nice to see you. Hi, Mrs. Dunn. I brought Violet some soup. That's sweet. I was just helping Violet get organised. You know how important it is to have everything in order. Actually, Ivy said, I was reading about living donors online. It's really not that risky. Maybe Callie should talk to a doctor about it? Mum's smile tightened. Callie's made her decision. We have to respect that. But if it could save Violet's life... Ivy, dear, you don't understand the complexity of the situation. These decisions aren't made lightly. What's complex about saving your daughter's life? The room went dead silent. Mum's mask slipped for just a second, and I saw something cold flash in her eyes. I think I should go, Mum said, gathering her folders. Violet will finish this tomorrow. And please, think carefully before making any changes to your beneficiaries. Family is forever. After she left, Ivy poured 2 massive glasses of wine. Okay, that was weird as hell, she said. Right? Did you see her face when you mentioned Callie getting tested? Like you'd suggested human sacrifice. Ivy pulled out her laptop. Show me this insurance policy. I retrieved the documents Mum had been studying. Ivy's eyes widened as she read. Vi, this is a lot of money. And look at this. The policy was increased 6 months ago. Increased? I didn't increase it. Says here it was done online, through your employee portal. I never logged into that portal. I don't even know my password. Ivy's fingers flew over her keyboard. When did you first get sick? When did the symptoms start? About 4 months ago. Just fatigue at first. 4 months ago. She looked up at me. 2 months after your life insurance was mysteriously increased. We stared at each other as the implications sank in. That's probably just a coincidence, I said weakly. Maybe. But I'm going to do some digging. She closed the laptop. In the meantime, don't sign anything your mum gives you, and maybe change your online passwords. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Violet, this is Callie. I was at the bank today asking about your accounts. Just trying to help Mum organise things. Hope you don't mind. I showed Ivy the text. She was at the bank? Ivy's voice was sharp. Asking about your accounts? Apparently? Vi, they can't access your accounts without your permission, unless what? Unless they have power of attorney, or unless they're listed as beneficiaries on something that gives them access. My blood ran cold. The life insurance policy. Mum said she was calling them today. Ivy grabbed her phone. I'm calling my cousin Marcus. He works in insurance fraud investigation. Ivy, you're scaring me. Good. You should be scared. Because I think your family isn't just hoping you die, Vi. I think they're planning on it. The next morning, I called in sick to work, not exactly a lie, and drove to University Hospital across town. If my family thought I was just going to lie down and die, they had another thing coming. Dr. Eric McBride looked like he'd stepped out of a medical drama, but his handshake was firm and his eyes were kind. I've reviewed your files, he said, settling behind his desk. Your local doctors did good work, but I think we can be more aggressive about finding you a donor. More aggressive how? The National Registry has expanded protocols. We can cast a wider net, look at partial matches, even explore some experimental programs. He leaned forward. Violet, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Your condition is serious, but you're young, you're otherwise healthy, and you're a fighter. I can see it in your eyes. My family thinks I should just prepare for the worst. What do you think? I think I want to live. Then let's make that happen. I'm putting you on the priority list today. We'll need some additional tests, but I'm optimistic. For the first time in weeks, I felt something other than despair. On the drive home, my phone rang. Mum. Hi, sweetheart. How are you feeling? Better, actually. I saw a new doctor today. Silence. Then, a new doctor? Why? I thought Dr. Martinez was handling everything. I wanted a second opinion about treatment options. Violet, you shouldn't be driving around in your condition. What if you collapsed? What if... Mum, I'm fine. The new doctor is very optimistic. Another pause. Optimistic about what? About finding me a donor. He thinks my chances are better than we thought. Oh. Her voice was flat. Well, that's wonderful, dear. But you shouldn't get your hopes up too high. These things rarely work out the way we want them to. Why would you say that? I just don't want you to be disappointed. Sometimes it's better to accept reality and focus on making peace with things. Making peace with dying. That's what she wanted. I have to go, Mum. I'm meeting Ivy for lunch. Of course, just be careful, sweetheart, and don't make any big decisions without talking to us first. I hung up and immediately called Ivy. How did it go? She asked. The doctor was great, really hopeful, but Mum, she sounded almost disappointed when I told her. Because she was. Vi, I talked to my cousin Marcus yesterday. He's going to look into your insurance policy, but he said something interesting. He's seen cases where family members take out policies on relatives and then, well, let's just say they don't always have the person's best interests at heart. You think Mum took out that policy without telling me? I think we need to find out. Can you get into your employee portal? I can try. We met at a coffee shop near my apartment. Ivy brought her laptop and a grim expression. I did some digging last night, she said, opening a folder. Your mum's been busy. She's called the insurance company 3 times this week. And get this, she also called a funeral home. What? Sunset Memorial. I called them pretending to be your assistant. They said Mrs. Dunn had inquired about pre-planning services for her daughter. My hand started shaking. She was scrolling through her phone, probably shopping for another designer handbag she couldn't afford. What's up? She didn't look up. I need a liver transplant. The doctor said family members are the best. Whoa, hold up. Callie's head snapped up, her perfectly contoured face scrunching. You want me to give you part of my liver? It's a simple procedure. They only take a section, and it regenerates. Violet, are you insane? She stood up, backing away like I'd suggested she donate her firstborn. I can't risk surgery. What if something goes wrong? What if I get scarred? I have a life, you know. I have plans. I'm dying, Callie. Don't be so dramatic. You'll figure something out. She's planning my funeral while I'm sitting here drinking coffee. It gets worse. I found her Pinterest account. She has a board called Violet's Service. It's full of flower arrangements and memorial ideas. Show me. Ivy turned the laptop toward me. There it was, a Pinterest board with dozens of pins. White lilies, elegant caskets, memorial cards with my photo. She'd even pinned a recipe for funeral potatoes. When did she create this? 2 weeks ago, right after your diagnosis. I stared at the screen, feeling sick. She's not just planning for my death, she's looking forward to it. There's more. I found some financial records. Your mum has been struggling with debt. Credit cards, a second mortgage, some kind of investment that went bad. She's in deep, Vi. How deep? 6 figures deep, maybe more. My phone buzzed. A text from Callie. Mum said you saw a new doctor. That's probably not a good idea. You should stick with the original treatment plan. I showed Ivy the text. Treatment plan? Ivy's voice was sharp. What treatment plan? They haven't given you any treatment. Exactly. Another text, this time from Mum. Callie told me she's concerned about you doctor shopping. We just want what's best for you, sweetheart. They're coordinating, I said. They're actually coordinating to keep me from getting help. Ivy's phone rang. She glanced at the screen, and her face went pale. It's Marcus, my cousin, she answered. Hey, what did you find out? I watched her face change as she listened. Are you sure? Okay? Okay, thanks. She hung up and looked at me with a mixture of anger and fear. Vi, that insurance policy? It wasn't increased through your employee portal. It was increased through a phone call. Someone called pretending to be you, answered all your security questions correctly, and doubled your coverage. Someone who knew all my personal information. Someone who lives in your house. Someone who raised you and knows everything about you. My phone rang. Mum again. Don't answer it, Ivy said. But I did. I needed to hear her voice, to see if I could detect the lie. Hi, Mum. Violet, I've been thinking, maybe you should come stay with us for a while, so we can take care of you properly. Take care of me? Make sure you're eating, taking your medications, resting. You shouldn't be alone right now. I'm fine where I am. But what if something happens? What if you need help in the middle of the night? What if I get better? That's what she was really worried about. I'll think about it. Don't think too long, sweetheart. Time is precious now. After I hung up, Ivy grabbed my hands. Vi, you can't go there. You can't be alone with them. I know. We need help. Real help. Like what? Like a lawyer, like the police, like someone who can protect you from your own family. My phone buzzed with another text from an unknown number. Hi, Violet. This is Jacqueline Lee. I'm a journalist, and I think we should talk. Your friend Ivy gave me your number. I specialize in insurance fraud cases, and I believe you might have a story I need to hear. I showed Ivy the message. I called her this morning, Ivy said. She's good, Vi. She's helped people in situations like this before. Situations like this? You mean situations where your family wants you dead? Yeah, exactly like that. As if on cue, my phone rang again. This time it was Callie. Hey sis, Mom and I were talking. We think you should come home tonight. We want to spend time with you while we still can. While they still could. Like I was already gone. I can't tonight, Callie. I'm not feeling well. All the more reason to be with family. We'll take good care of you. In the background, I heard Mum's voice. Ask her about the backup plan. What backup plan? I said quickly. What? Oh, nothing. Mum was talking about something else. So you'll come over? I'll call you later. I hung up and looked at Ivy. They have a backup plan, I said. In case I get better. Then we better make sure you do get better. And we better make sure everyone knows exactly what they tried to do to stop it. Dr. McBride called me at 7 a.m. on Thursday. Violet, we have a potential match. Can you be here in 2 hours for pre-transplant testing? I was dressed and out the door in 15 minutes, my heart pounding with something I hadn't felt in weeks. Hope. The testing took all day. Blood work, scans, psychological evaluations. By evening, I was exhausted, but optimistic. Dr. McBride pulled me aside as I was leaving. The donor looks good. We're scheduling surgery for next week, pending final compatibility tests. Next week? I know it's fast, but this is how it works. When we get a match, we move quickly. I drove home in a daze, my phone buzzing constantly. Mum had called 6 times. Callie had texted asking where I was. I ignored them all. At home, I found Ivy waiting in my hallway with a woman I didn't recognize. This is Jacqueline, Ivy said. The journalist I told you about. Jacqueline was sharp-eyed and intense, with the kind of energy that made you want to tell her everything. I've been looking into your family's finances, she said without preamble. Your mother is in serious trouble. We're talking bankruptcy-level debt. How serious? $300,000, maybe more. She pulled out a tablet. Credit cards, personal loans, a second mortgage that's underwater. She's been juggling payments for months. And my life insurance policy? $2 million would solve all her problems, with plenty left over. Ivy handed me a small device. It's a recording app. Marcus suggested it. If they're planning something, we need evidence. You think they'd actually try to hurt me? I think desperate people do desperate things, Jacqueline said. And your mother is very desperate. My phone rang. Mum again. Answer it, Jacqueline said, but put it on speaker. I did. Violet, where have you been? I've been worried sick. I had a doctor's appointment. Another new doctor? Honey, this is getting concerning. All this running around isn't good for you. Actually, it's great news. They found a potential donor. Silence. Then, a donor? Are you sure? Pretty sure. Surgery might be next week. Next week? Her voice was strained. That seems very fast. Are you sure this is legitimate? There are a lot of scams targeting sick people. Mum, it's a real hospital, a real doctor. I think we should get a second opinion. Maybe talk to Dr. Martinez first. Why would I need a second opinion on getting better? Another pause. Of course you want to get better, sweetheart. I just want to make sure you're not being taken advantage of. These experimental procedures, they don't always work. This isn't experimental. It's a standard transplant. Well, we should discuss it as a family. Can you come over tonight? I looked at Jacqueline, who was shaking her head vigorously. I can't tonight. I'm tired. Then I'll come to you. We need to talk about this properly. Mum, I'm fine. I'll call you tomorrow. Violet, wait! I hung up. She's panicking, Jacqueline said. The timeline just got accelerated and she's not ready. Ready for what? To collect on your life insurance. If you get that transplant and survive, she gets nothing. 20 minutes later, there was a knock at my door. Through the peephole, I saw Mum and Callie. Don't answer, Ivy whispered. But they had keys. Of course they had keys. Violet, Mum called, letting herself in. You always do. Mum walked in then, carrying a tray of tea like we were having a pleasant afternoon chat, instead of discussing my impending death. What are you girls talking about? Meredith asked, setting down the tray with practiced grace. Violet wants me to give her my liver, Callie said, like I'd asked her to lend me $20. Mum's face immediately shifted into what I call her concerned mother expression, the one she uses at PTA meetings and charity galas. Oh, sweetheart, this is all so sudden. Are you sure the doctors are right? Maybe you should get a second opinion. I got 3 opinions, Mum. They all say the same thing. Well, we need to think about this practically. She sat down, folding her hands. Callie's right to be cautious. We need to talk. I quickly hid the recording device in my pocket and activated it. Hi, Mum. Hi, Callie. Callie looked nervous, fidgeting with her purse. Mum was all business. Sit down, sweetheart. We're concerned about this transplant business. Concerned how? These procedures are risky, Callie said. What if something goes wrong? What if you don't survive the surgery? Then I die. But if I don't get the surgery, I definitely die. That's not necessarily true, Mum said. People live with liver disease for years. You could have more time than the doctors think. Or I could die next month. Violet, we've been talking to a lawyer, Mum said, about your estate planning. There are some things we need to discuss. She pulled out a folder. Power of attorney documents. Medical directives. We think it's important that family members can make decisions if you're incapacitated. Incapacitated? During surgery, or if the medications affect your judgment. These are standard precautions. I looked at the papers. They would give Mum complete control over my medical decisions and finances. I don't think I need these right now. Violet, be reasonable. What if something happens and we can't help you because of legal red tape? What kind of help? Callie and Mum exchanged a look. Medical decisions, Callie said. Financial decisions. End-of-life decisions. I'm not at the end of my life. I'm getting a transplant. But what if the transplant doesn't work? Mum pressed. What if there are complications? We just want to be able to take care of you. The way you took care of me when I asked you to get tested as a donor? Another look between them. That's different, Callie said. That was about my health. This is about yours. Right. Your health was too important to risk. But mine isn't. That's not what we're saying, Mum said quickly. We're saying we want to be prepared for all possibilities, including the possibility that I die, including the possibility that you need us to make difficult decisions. I stood up. I think you should go. Violet, don't be stubborn about this. Sign the papers. It's for your own good. No. Mum's mask slipped again. You're being selfish. We're trying to help you, and you're being ungrateful and stubborn. I'm being ungrateful. I'm dying, and you're worried about paperwork. We're worried about you, Callie snapped. God, Violet, everything is always about you, isn't it? Even when you're dying, you have to make it difficult for everyone else. The room went dead silent. Get out, I said quietly. Violet, Mum started. Get out, now. After they left, I sat in my kitchen shaking. Ivy and Jacqueline emerged from the bedroom where they'd been hiding. Did you get all that? I asked. Jacqueline held up her phone. Every word, including the part where your sister basically admitted she wishes you'd just die quietly. What do we do now? Now we wait for your surgery, and we make sure they don't try to stop it. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Violet, this is your father, Roy. I heard you're sick. We should talk. There are things about your mother you don't know, things that might save your life. I showed the message to Jacqueline. Your father? I thought he was out of the picture. He is. Has been for years. Then why is he contacting you now? I don't know, but I have a feeling I'm about to find out. Another text from Roy. Your mother has done this before. Ask her about your Aunt Linda. Ask her about the insurance money. Ask her why Linda's liver disease was never properly treated. My blood turned to ice. Jacqueline, I said slowly, I think we need to have a conversation with my father. Roy looked older than I remembered, greyer around the edges, but his eyes were sharp as ever. We met at a diner across town, far from anywhere Mom might spot us. You look terrible, he said, sliding into the booth across from me. Thanks, Dad. Really what I needed to hear. I'm not here to coddle you, Violet. I'm here because your mother is going to kill you. Jacqueline leaned forward. That's a serious accusation. It's a serious situation. Roy pulled out a manila envelope. Your Aunt Linda died 3 years ago. Liver failure, just like what you have now. I remember. Mum was devastated. Your mother was rich. Linda had a $2 million life insurance policy. Guess who the beneficiary was? My stomach dropped. Mum. Linda was sick for months, kept saying she felt like she was getting worse instead of better. The doctors couldn't figure out why her condition was deteriorating so fast. What are you saying? I'm saying Linda was supposed to get a transplant, had a donor lined up and everything, but somehow her medical records got mixed up. The surgery was delayed, then delayed again. By the time they sorted it out, she was too sick for the procedure. Jacqueline was taking notes. Mixed up? How? Someone called the hospital pretending to be Linda, cancelled appointments, changed contact information, made it look like Linda was having second thoughts about the surgery. Someone like who? Someone who knew all of Linda's personal information, someone who had access to her medical records because Linda trusted them to help coordinate her care. Mum, I whispered, your mother volunteered to be Linda's medical advocate, had all the passwords, all the account information. Linda was too sick to manage things herself. You have proof of this? Roy slid a folder across the table. Phone records, bank statements, insurance documents. I've been collecting evidence for 3 years, waiting for the right moment. Why didn't you go to the police? With what? Circumstantial evidence about a woman who died of natural causes? I needed something more concrete. And now you have it? Now I have a pattern. Linda dies, your mother gets $2 million. You get sick, your mother increases your policy to $2 million. You find a donor, suddenly your mother is pushing power of attorney documents and talking about difficult decisions. I felt sick. She killed Linda. She let Linda die. There's a difference, legally speaking. But the result is the same. Jacqueline looked up from her notes. Roy, why are you telling us this now? You've been estranged from the family for years. Because Violet is my daughter, and because I know what Meredith is capable of when money is involved. What do you mean? Why do you think I left? Your mother tried to take out a life insurance policy on me. Forged my signature, used my social security number. I only found out when the insurance company called to confirm some details. She tried to insure you without your knowledge? $2.5 million. I confronted her about it, and she said it was for financial security. Said I was being paranoid, but I knew what it really was. A murder plot. A murder plan. So I left. Figured I was safer away from her than staying and risking an accident. My phone buzzed. A text from Mum. Violet, we need to talk about the surgery. I've been doing research, and I'm very concerned about the risks. Can you come over tonight? I showed Roy the message. Don't go, he said immediately. Whatever you do, don't go to that house alone. She's my mother. She's a killer, and you're worth $2 million dead. Another text. I talked to Dr. Martinez. He's concerned about this new doctor you're seeing. He thinks you should get a second opinion before proceeding. She's coordinating with your original doctor, Jacqueline said, trying to undermine your treatment. Doctor, surgery is risky, and she's so young. Maybe we should focus on getting your affairs in order first. You know, just in case. Just in case. Like I was planning a vacation, not fighting for my life. What about the transplant list? I pressed. Of course. But these things take time, and you said 6 months? Mum trailed off, but her meaning was clear. She didn't think I had 6 months. I could die waiting on that list. Honey, you need to be realistic, Mum said, reaching over to pat my hand. Maybe this is God's way of telling you to make peace with things. Have you thought about what you want for your arrangements? Arrangements. She couldn't even say the word funeral. I'm not dead yet, I said, pulling my hand away. Of course not. Martinez wouldn't do that. He would if your mother convinced him she was acting in your best interest, if she told him you were making irrational decisions due to your illness. My phone rang. Mum. Answer it, Roy said, but put it on speaker. Hi, Mum. Violet, I just got off the phone with Dr. Martinez. He's very concerned about this transplant. He thinks you're being rushed into a dangerous procedure. It's not dangerous, it's my only chance. Sweetheart, you're not thinking clearly. The medications, the stress, the fear, it's affecting your judgment. That's why we need those power of attorney documents signed. So you can make my medical decisions for me? So we can protect you from making a terrible mistake. The terrible mistake would be not getting the transplant. Violet, listen to me. This doctor you're seeing, Dr. McBride, he's not even board certified in transplant surgery. What? I looked him up. He's a research physician, not a surgeon. He's using you as a test subject. I looked at Jacqueline, panic rising in my chest. That's not true, I said, but my voice wavered. It is true. Come home tonight, and we'll show you the documentation. We'll figure this out together. I need to think about this. There's no time to think. The surgery is scheduled for Monday. If we're going to stop this, we need to act now. Stop it? Save you from it. Violet, please. Trust us. We're your family. I hung up and looked at Roy. Is she right? About Dr. McBride? I don't know, but I know one thing. Your mother doesn't want you to survive this. Whether the doctor is legitimate or not, she's going to do everything in her power to make sure you don't make it to that operating table. What do you mean? I mean, you need to disappear until Monday. Stay somewhere she can't find you, because if she can't stop the surgery legally, she'll find another way. Another way like what? Like what happened to Linda. Like what almost happened to me. My phone buzzed with another text from Mom. Violet, I'm coming over. We need to talk face to face about this. I'll be there in 20 minutes. She's coming to my apartment. Then we need to leave. Now. Where am I supposed to go? Somewhere safe. Somewhere she can't get to you. Jacqueline stood up. I know a place. But first, we need to verify what your mother said about Dr. McBride. And if she's right, if he's not legitimate, then we find you a real doctor. But if she's lying, then she's trying to kill me. Then she's definitely trying to kill me. Roy grabbed my arm. Violet, listen to me. Your mother has killed before. She will kill again. The only question is whether you're going to let her. My phone rang again. This time it was Dr. McBride. Violet, I just got a strange call from someone claiming to be your mother. She said you wanted to cancel the surgery. I wanted to confirm with you directly. I didn't cancel anything. That's what I thought. But she was very insistent. Said you changed your mind and wanted to pursue palliative care instead. Palliative care? End-of-life comfort care. She said you decided to stop fighting. I looked at Roy and Jacqueline, my hands shaking. Dr. McBride, someone is trying to sabotage my treatment. Can you put a password on my account? Make sure no one can make changes without speaking to me directly? Of course. Violet, is everything okay? No, everything is definitely not okay. The surgery went better than anyone expected. I woke up Tuesday morning, feeling like I'd been hit by a truck, but Dr. McBride was grinning. The transplant was a complete success, he said. Your new liver is functioning perfectly. How long before I can go home? A few more days for monitoring. But Violet, you're going to be fine. You're going to live. For the first time in months, I believed it. Ivy was the only one who knew I was alive. We'd decided to keep it that way. Your mum called me yesterday, she said, settling into the chair beside my hospital bed. She wanted to know if I'd heard from you. Said you'd disappeared and she was worried. What did you tell her? That I hadn't heard anything. She asked if I thought you might have, hurt yourself. She's hoping I did. She sounded genuinely concerned, Vi, like she was really worried about you. She's worried about the insurance money. If I disappear instead of dying, she can't collect. Ivy pulled out her phone. Speaking of which, you need to see this. She showed me a Facebook post from Mum. Please keep our family in your prayers. Our beloved Violet is missing and we fear the worst. She was struggling with her diagnosis and may have made a desperate decision. If anyone has seen her, please contact us immediately. Pray for Violet. Jai, missing person. The post had hundreds of comments. People offering prayers, sharing the post, promising to keep an eye out for me. She's building a narrative, I said, making it look like I was suicidal. It gets worse. Ivy scrolled down. Look at this comment from Callie. Callie had written, Violet was so scared about the surgery. She kept saying she didn't want to be a burden on the family. I'm afraid she might have done something drastic rather than face the pain of treatment. Please pray we find her in time. A burden on the family, that's rich. There's more. Your mum posted this an hour ago. The new post was a photo of me from last Christmas, looking thin and pale. The caption read, It's been 48 hours since we've heard from Violet. The police are involved now. We're preparing for the worst while hoping for the best. Her liver disease had progressed rapidly, and she was in tremendous pain. We just want to bring our baby home. Find Violet. The police? She filed a missing person report, told them you were suicidal and medically fragile. Jesus. Vi, there's something else. Jacqueline found out your mum has been in contact with the insurance company. She told them you were missing and might be, dead. She's trying to start the claim process. Said she was preparing for the inevitable. Dr. McBride knocked and entered. How are you feeling today? Better. When can I get out of here? Tomorrow, if your numbers stay stable. But I have to ask, there's been some unusual activity around your case. What kind of activity? Someone called yesterday claiming to be your next of kin. Said you'd been in an accident and they needed to know your condition. My mother? They wouldn't identify themselves, but they knew a lot of personal details about you. Our security team flagged it as suspicious. Good. Don't give anyone information about me unless they can prove who they are. Already done. But Violet, is there something I should know? Are you in some kind of danger? Yes. From my family. Dr. McBride's eyebrows shot up. Your family? It's complicated, but they can't know I'm alive. Not yet. I don't understand. Ivy leaned forward. Doctor, Violet's family has been trying to prevent her from getting this transplant. They have significant financial incentives for her to not survive. Are you saying they want her to die? We're saying they've been actively working to make sure she does. Dr. McBride sat down heavily. This is very serious. Have you contacted the authorities? We're working on it, I said. But first I need to recover. But it's responsible to plan ahead. What about your life insurance? Your apartment lease? Your car payments? The way she said life insurance made something cold crawl up my spine. There was an eagerness there, quickly masked, but unmistakable. I haven't thought about any of that. Well, you should. Sooner rather than later. I can help you organise everything. Make sure all your paperwork is in order. Callie was nodding along, suddenly very interested in this conversation. That's smart, Mum. Violet, you don't want to leave us with a mess to clean up. A mess. That's what I was to them. A mess to clean up. I should go, I said, standing on shaky legs. I'm tired. Of course, sweetheart. And I need to make sure they can't interfere with my treatment. What do you need from me? Keep me listed as Jane Doe for now. Don't confirm my identity to anyone. And when I'm discharged, don't put it in any system they might have access to. I can do that. But Violet, you can't hide forever. I don't plan to. I just need a few more days. After Dr. McBride left, Jacqueline arrived with a laptop and a grim expression. I've been monitoring your family's communications, she said. They're escalating? Escalating how? Your mum called the hospital this morning, told them she was your emergency contact, and needed to know if any Jane Does had been admitted with liver failure. What did they tell her? Nothing, but she's getting desperate. Look at this. She showed me a text thread between Mum and Callie. Mum. Still no word from V, starting to think she really did it. Callie, maybe that's for the best. At least this way we don't have to watch her suffer. Mum, the insurance company needs a death certificate within 30 days of presumed death. We need to find her. Callie, what if we don't find her? Mum, then we have her declared legally dead. It just takes longer. They're planning to have me declared dead, I said. It gets worse. Your mum hired a private investigator. She's telling people she's desperate to find you before you hurt yourself. But really, she's desperate to find my body. Or to make sure there is one. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Violet, this is your mum. I know you're alive. I know you're reading this. We need to talk. Come home. We can work this out. I showed it to Ivy and Jacqueline. How did she get this number? Ivy asked. I don't know, but she knows I'm alive. Another text. I know about the surgery. I know about the transplant. You can't hide forever. Family is family, Violet. We'll always find you. She's been tracking me somehow, I said. Jacqueline grabbed my phone. We need to turn this off, now, and we need to get you out of here. I can't leave yet. The doctor said you could leave tomorrow. We're moving that up to tonight. Why? Because your mother just posted this. She showed me Mum's latest Facebook post. Urgent. We have reason to believe Violet is being held against her will at a medical facility. She may be confused or disoriented due to her illness. If you are a healthcare worker and have seen her, please contact us immediately. She needs her family. Bring Violet home. She's crowdsourcing a search for me. She's making it look like you're being kidnapped or brainwashed. If someone recognizes you, they'll call her. And she'll come here with the police, claiming you're mentally incompetent and need to be in her custody. I looked at both of them. So what do? We disappear. Tonight. And we don't surface until we're ready to destroy her. How do we do that? Jacqueline smiled, but it wasn't a pleasant expression. We let her think she won. We let her think you're dead. And then we show up at your own funeral. My funeral? Oh yes, she's already planning it. Posted about it this morning. Celebrating Violet's life at Sunset Memorial this Saturday. She's expecting a big crowd. She's having a funeral for me while I'm still alive. She's having a funeral for you because you're still alive. It's the perfect cover for collecting the insurance money. I stared at her. You want me to attend my own funeral? I want you to ruin it. I want you to walk in there, very much alive, in front of everyone she's lied to. I want you to expose her for what she is. And then what? Then we watch her world burn. Saturday morning, I stood in the parking lot of Sunset Memorial, watching people file into my own funeral. The irony wasn't lost on me. You ready for this? Jacqueline asked, adjusting the tiny camera clip to my jacket. As ready as anyone can be to crash their own memorial service. Remember, we're live streaming everything. Once you walk in there, there's no going back. Ivy squeezed my hand. You sure you want to do this? They wanted me dead. Time to show them what dead looks like. The chapel was packed. I recognized faces from high school, old co-workers, neighbours. Mum had really pulled out all the stops. There were flowers everywhere, a slideshow of my photos playing on a big screen, and soft music that made the whole thing feel like a movie. I slipped in through the back door and stood against the wall, hood up, watching my own funeral unfold. Mum was in the front row, dabbing her eyes with a tissue. She wore a black dress that probably cost more than my rent. Callie sat beside her, looking appropriately grief-stricken. The pastor was speaking. Violet was taken from us too soon, but her family finds comfort knowing she's no longer suffering. No longer suffering. Right. I'd like to invite Violet's mother, Meredith, to share some words. Mum stood up, smoothing her dress. She walked to the podium with perfect composure, then looked out at the crowd with tears in her eyes. My daughter was the light of my life, she began, her voice breaking just enough to sound genuine. When she got sick, I prayed every night for a miracle, but sometimes God has other plans. I felt sick listening to her. Violet was so brave in her final days. She didn't want to be a burden on anyone. She kept saying she just wanted the pain to stop. Murmurs of sympathy rippled through the crowd. The hardest part is that we never got to say goodbye. She disappeared in her final days, probably trying to spare us the pain of watching her suffer. That's just the kind of person she was, always thinking of others before herself. What a load of crap, I whispered. The police believe she went somewhere peaceful to let go. We may never find her body, but we know she's at peace now. More tears from the audience. Someone in the back was openly sobbing. Violet had a generous heart. She made sure her life insurance would take care of her family after she was gone. Even in death, she's still taking care of us. There it was, the money. I know she's looking down on us today, happy to see how many lives she touched. She wouldn't want us to be sad. She'd want us to celebrate the time we had with her. Mom stepped away from the podium, and Callie took her place. My sister was my best friend, Callie said, and I almost laughed out loud. We talked every day. She was so scared about the surgery, so worried about what would happen to Mom and me if she didn't make it. She never called you, I muttered. Violet made me promise that if anything happened to her, I'd take care of Mom. She said the insurance money should go to family, to people who really loved her. She was always so responsible about money, Callie continued. She wanted to make sure we'd be okay. That's the kind of person she was. I'd heard enough. I pulled out my phone and texted Jacqueline. Start the live stream. It's showtime. I walked down the centre aisle, pulling back my hood as I went. The first person to notice me was Mrs. Peterson from next door. Her face went white. Oh my God, she whispered. Then others started turning. A gasp went through the crowd like a wave. Callie was still talking. I know Violet is watching over us, and I know she'd want us to. She looked up and saw me. Rest is important now. Mom stood too, wrapping me in a hug that felt more like a performance than comfort. We'll take care of everything. Don't you worry about a thing. As I walked toward the front door, I heard them whispering in the kitchen. I paused, my hand on the doorknob. Has to be something we can do about the timing, Callie was saying. Shh, not now, Mom replied. We'll discuss it later. But what if she actually finds a donor? What if... Callie, enough. She's not going to find a donor in time. The statistics are clear. My blood turned to ice. They weren't just refusing to help me. They were counting on me dying. I slipped out the front door as quietly as I could, but their voices followed me. What song do you think she'd want at the funeral? Callie asked. The words died in her throat. Hi, Callie, I said, loud enough for everyone to hear. Don't stop on my account. This is fascinating. The chapel erupted. People were standing, pointing, some screaming. Mum spun around from the front row, her face cycling through shock, horror, and something that looked like rage. Violet, she said, her voice barely audible. Surprise, Mum. Reports of my death have been greatly exaggerated. I walked to the front of the chapel, past the flowers, past the photos of my life, past the people who'd come to mourn me. I have to say, this is quite a turnout. I'm touched that so many people came to celebrate my life, especially since I'm still living it. Violet, what are you doing? Mom hissed. You're supposed to be... Dead? Yeah, I know. That was the plan, wasn't it? I turned to face the crowd. I'm sorry to interrupt my own funeral, but I thought you should know the truth about why we're all here. Violet, you're not well, Callie said, stepping toward me. You're confused. The medication... I'm not confused. I'm alive, thanks to a successful liver transplant that my loving family tried everything in their power to prevent. Murmurs started spreading through the crowd. You see, my mother and sister didn't want me to get better. They wanted me to die, because I'm worth more to them dead than alive. That's not true, Mum said, but her voice was shaking. $2 million to be exact. That's what my life insurance policy is worth. The policy that was mysteriously increased right before I got sick. I pulled out my phone and held it up. I have recordings of them discussing my funeral while I was still alive. I have evidence of them trying to sabotage my medical treatment. I have proof that they've done this before. Violet, please, Mum said, reaching for me. You're having a breakdown. The stress of your illness. The stress of my family trying to kill me, you mean? The crowd was getting restless. People were pulling out their phones, recording everything. My Aunt Linda died 3 years ago. Liver failure. Just like me. She was supposed to get a transplant, but somehow her appointments kept getting cancelled. Her medical records kept getting mixed up. She died waiting for a surgery that never came. That's ridiculous, Callie said. Is it? Because she had a $2 million life insurance policy too, with Mum as the beneficiary. I looked out at the crowd. How many of you knew Linda? How many of you remember how suddenly she got worse? How the doctors couldn't explain why her condition deteriorated so fast? Several hands went up. I saw recognition dawning on faces throughout the chapel. My mother has been planning my death since the day I was diagnosed. She's been sabotaging my treatment, pressuring me to sign power of attorney documents, and telling everyone I was suicidal so that when I disappeared, no one would question it. You are suicidal, Mum screamed, her composure finally cracking. You've been acting erratically for weeks. You've been paranoid and delusional. Have I? Or have I been trying to stay alive while my own family plotted my murder? I turned to the crowd again. She filed a missing person report claiming I was mentally incompetent. She hired a private investigator to track me down. She's been calling insurance companies asking about death benefits. And she planned this funeral before she even knew I was dead. Because we were worried about you, Callie shouted. You were worried about the money, and when I got the transplant and survived, you panicked. So you decided to have me declared dead anyway and collect the insurance. The crowd was buzzing now. People were standing, some heading for the exits, others pressing closer to hear more. The live stream has over 10,000 viewers, Jacqueline announced from the back of the chapel, and the police are on their way. Mum's face went pale. Police? Insurance fraud is a felony, Mum. Attempted murder is worse. I never tried to murder you. You tried to let me die. There's a difference, but not much of one. Sirens wailed in the distance, getting closer. The good news is, you don't have to worry about the insurance money anymore. I changed the beneficiaries yesterday. Every penny is going to charity. You can't do that, Callie screamed. I can. I did. And now everyone knows exactly what kind of people you really are. The police walked in, just as Mum collapsed into her chair, sobbing. Violet Dunn, one of the officers said. That's me. Very much alive, as you can see. We have some questions for you. And for your family. I looked out at the crowd one more time. Thank you all for coming to my funeral. I'm sorry it didn't go as planned. The courthouse steps were buzzing with reporters when Mum and Callie were led out in handcuffs. I watched from across the street, my new liver functioning perfectly, my life insurance policy safely transferred to 3 different charities. How does it feel? Jacqueline asked, lowering her camera. Empty, I said honestly. I thought it would feel better than this. Violet, someone called from behind me. I turned to see a woman about Mum's age hurrying toward us. She had kind eyes and greying hair, and she looked familiar in a way I couldn't place. You don't know me, she said, slightly out of breath. I'm Patricia, Linda's sister. My heart stopped. Linda's sister? I saw the news coverage, about what your mother did, about what she did to you. Her voice was shaking. I always suspected something was wrong with Linda's death, but I could never prove it. I'm so sorry about Linda. Don't be sorry. Be proud. You did what I couldn't do. You exposed her. She pulled out an envelope. This came for you yesterday. I've been carrying it around, hoping I'd run into you. I opened it. Inside was a letter, written in shaky handwriting. Dear Violet, if you're reading this, it means Patricia found you. I'm writing this from hospice care, and I don't have much time left, but I need you to know something about your mother. She's been here every day, helping with my care, and something isn't right. My medications keep getting mixed up. My appointments keep getting cancelled. I'm getting sicker instead of better, and I think she's doing something to me. I don't know why. I love her like a sister, but I'm scared. If something happens to me, please don't let her do this to anyone else. Love, Linda. She knew, I whispered. She knew, but she was too sick to fight back, just like your mother was counting on with you. I looked back at the courthouse, where Mum was being loaded into a police van. She saw me watching and mouthed something I couldn't hear. What did she say? Ivy asked. I think she said, I'm sorry. Do you believe her? I don't know. Does it matter? Roy appeared at my elbow. The DA wants to talk to you about Linda's case. They're reopening the investigation. Will you testify? Already gave my statement. Turns out your mother tried this with 2 other relatives over the years. Both died under suspicious circumstances. Both had large life insurance policies. How many people did she kill? We may never know, but it's over now. A reporter spotted me and started walking over. Ms. Dunn, how do you feel about your mother's arrest? I feel like I can finally breathe, I said. Do you forgive her? I don't know if forgiveness is the right word. I understand her. She was desperate, drowning in debt, and she saw an opportunity. But understanding someone doesn't mean excusing what they did. What's next for you? I'm going to live. Something upbeat or traditional? We'll figure it out, Mum said. First things first. We need to make sure we understand all the insurance details. I sat in my car for 20 minutes, hands shaking, trying to process what I'd just heard. My own family was planning my funeral while I was still breathing. That's when I knew I wasn't just fighting for my life anymore. I was fighting for my life against them. The next morning, Mum showed up at my apartment with a stack of manila folders and her reading glasses. I brought coffee, she said, bustling past me like she owned the place. And I thought we could tackle your paperwork today. You know, while you're feeling up to it. I was feeling like garbage, actually. That's what she tried to prevent. So that's what I'm going to do. The reporter moved on, and Patricia squeezed my arm. Linda would be so proud of you, she said. You saved other people from going through what she did. I saved myself. Everything else was just a bonus. Sometimes that's enough. Dr. McBride called that evening while I was packing up my apartment. I decided to move across the country, start fresh somewhere. Mum's reputation couldn't follow me. I saw the news, he said. How are you feeling? Physically? Great. The new liver is working perfectly. And emotionally? That's more complicated. I won, but it doesn't feel like winning. Violet, you survived. Against impossible odds, with your own family working against you, you survived. That's not just winning. That's miraculous. It doesn't feel miraculous. It feels lonely. Loneliness is temporary. Death is permanent. You chose correctly. Ivy helped me load the last box into my car. You sure about this? Moving to Portland? I need a fresh start, somewhere nobody knows the story. The story's going to follow you. It's all over the internet. Then I'll deal with it when it does. But I can't stay here, Ivy. Every street corner reminds me of them. I get it. But promise me you'll stay in touch. Of course. And promise me you'll be happy. Don't let what they did poison the rest of your life. I'll try. She hugged me tight. You're the strongest person I know, Vi. Don't forget that. As I drove out of town, I passed Sunset Memorial. The sign out front read, Celebrating Life, Honouring Memory. I thought about Linda, about the other relatives Mum had probably killed, about all the people who'd trusted her and paid the ultimate price. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Violet, this is Marcus, Ivy's cousin, the insurance investigator. Thought you should know. Your mother's case is being used as a training example for our fraud detection program. You probably saved dozens of lives by exposing her. Maybe that was enough. Maybe saving other people was worth losing my family. Another text, this one from Jacqueline. The documentary about your case just got picked up by Netflix. Tentative title, Dead Wrong, A Family's Deadly Secret. You'll get final approval on everything. I pulled over and called her. A documentary? Your story is important, Vi. People need to know that this happens, that families can be the most dangerous predators of all. I don't want to be famous for this. You're not famous for being a victim. You're famous for being a survivor. There's a difference. Is there? Yes. Victims are powerless. Survivors fight back. You fought back, and you won. I lost my entire family. You lost people who were trying to kill you. That's not losing, that's winning. I hung up and sat in my car for a long time, watching the sun set over the town I was leaving behind. My phone rang again. This time it was a number I didn't recognize, but I answered anyway. Is this Violet? Yes? My name is Sarah. I saw your story on the news. My husband died last year, and his sister was, well, she was very involved in his care. I'm starting to wonder if maybe... Could we talk? Of course. I think she might have done something to him. Something like what your mother did to you. Where are you? Phoenix. I'll be there in 2 days. Really? Really? Nobody should have to go through this alone. I hung up and started the car. Portland could wait. I had work to do. The cost of revenge had been everything I thought I wanted. My family, my old life, my sense of safety in the world. But maybe what I'd lost wasn't worth keeping. Maybe some prices are worth paying. And maybe, just maybe, the best revenge isn't destroying your enemies. Maybe it's living long enough to save their next victims. I drove toward Phoenix, toward Sarah, toward whatever came next. Behind me, the town where I'd almost died disappeared in my rearview mirror. Ahead of me, the road stretched out like a promise. I was alive, I was free, and I was just getting started. My skin had taken on a lovely yellow tint, and I'd thrown up twice before 9 a.m. But sure, let's organise my death documents. Mum, I really don't think... Nonsense. This is important, Violet. You don't want to burden us with confusion later? She spread the folders across my kitchen table. Now, where do you keep your financial documents? In the filing cabinet by my desk. She was already moving toward it, pulling out folders with the efficiency of someone who'd done this before. Life insurance, bank statements, investment accounts. Oh my, you've been busy. I watched her flip through my papers, her eyes scanning each document with laser focus. When she got to my life insurance policy, she paused. This is quite substantial, she said, not looking up. $2 million? The company automatically enrolled everyone. I never really thought about it. And the beneficiaries are... She squinted at the fine print. Callie and myself. That's good. Very responsible of you. The way she said it made my stomach churn, like she was already spending the money. Actually, I might want to change that, I said, testing the waters. Her head snapped up. Change it? Why would you want to do that? Maybe set up something for charity or medical research? Violet, that's very noble, but family comes first. Callie has student loans, and I'm not getting any younger. This money could really help us. Help them, not help me get better. Help them after I was gone. I haven't decided anything yet. Well, don't wait too long.